Second down. Delivers over the middle. Pass is picked off. Marcus Neal with the interception for Iowa State at the goal line. Kansas's first turnover in the last 3 games is a costly one.
2.5 to go, third quarter. After the penalty, Prabula going deep, and it is intercepted by Jacoby Johnson.
In the backfield, here's the handoff. Hunt up and over for the touchdown. And Kareem has a touchdown for the 4th straight game. Down the middle, he's got Rice, and Rice is running. Rice is taken off past the 40. Rice is near midfield before he's shoved out of bounds by Pratt. 25 yards from Butker to force overtime. The kick is good. It's a blitz. Stepping up and heaving it, and Worthy makes the catch. And the kick is good. Kansas City survives.
All right, a Victory Monday right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. We got a lot of stuff to get into today. Chiefs take care of business. The local college football teams do not. But it is a Victory Monday for the Kansas City Chiefs, not for Mizzou, KU, and K-State. But we will get into a lot of what happened yesterday. 913-3-810-810. Phone lines are open. First in, first on. 913-3-810-810. Taking your comments, reaction to the Chiefs winning the game. Never a doubt. I don't know about you guys, but if anybody was doubting the Chiefs in that situation, just a bunch of haters. I mean, come on. I sat there cool, calm, collected, no anxiety, relaxed. It's like I was getting a massage during the game. It was just that, like sitting on a beach, you know what I mean? Like oceanside, you got the view, the sun setting, just as relaxing as it gets. A little cocktail. I don't even drink, but I had a cocktail. You know, Sterling would have been reading a nice little novel while he was doing that. Just relaxed the whole time. As far as you know, because I mean, nobody else would know how I was reacting through that game. In all seriousness, though, we'll get into what happened in that game. Jack Johnson is hanging out with us, and he had a busy day yesterday, kind enough to hang out with us for the first hour and a half today before we bring on Field Yates, who, will break down the NFL and what he saw from this game. But Jack with an enjoyable pregame leading into all of the scenarios and topics and what happens, win or lose with this particular game. And then post-game, a great post-game as well. Had a longer drive right after the game was over. So I appreciated listening to Jack Johnson guide you through the ship there and not guiding you through a, why did this happen? The Chiefs are not going to make the playoffs now. They're 5-6. Yet another game where they cannot stop shooting themselves in the foot. Or Clark Griswold in the attic. Everywhere he steps, it's a board that comes up and hits him in the face. Every time they do that, they throw an interception inside their own 10-yard line. They fumble inside the Indianapolis 10-yard line. Like, that's 14 points right there, and we would just go back and say, the Eagles interception, the Jags interception, the Broncos illegal formation, the interception at the 3 or 5 yard line, whatever it was, on the RPO to begin the game. Hunt never fumbles, and of course he fumbles, and it's an inch away from his helmet being on the ground and being down, and you would have scored. And it's just one of those years where 4 of the 6 losses, you just can't get out of your own way, and you could be sitting here 9-2. Thankfully, we are not talking about that, and Jack didn't have to navigate that show yesterday because Jack, 23 minutes saved the season yesterday. The final 15 minutes of the fourth quarter and the 8 minutes in overtime since they kicked the field goal with the 2-minute warning. So the 8 minutes of overtime, so those 23 minutes, and in fact, you can even make a case it's less than 23 minutes because when Kareem Hunt fumbled that football was with
14-something, I believe.
Yep, 14:48. So let's just say 15 minutes. So 15 was the whole fourth quarter. So the whole fourth quarter, so 23 minutes of football saved the Chiefs' season for now. They have to then go and capitalize on this moving forward. But that fumble, the season was done. Like, it was over in my mind. If you can't show up and play good football against the Colts at home, when it's the sense of urgency, Patrick Mahomes saying it feels like a playoff game, you're putting in extra work this week, guys are staying later, a guy, he was talking about himself, leading by example. You can see everybody pushing to break through and to win these games. There's an urgency around here. We know what this game means. Like, we heard that. Drew Tranquill, backs against the wall. And if you come out and play like that and lose that game, there is no confidence that you can win another game this year outside of maybe the Titans or the Raiders. Like, every game you go into, you go, I don't know how they're going to win this game. Oh, it's a big game. They're all sense of urgency'd out, Oh, the Cowboys, they have to win now against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving just to get to 6-6. So when the defense comes out there after the Kareem Hunt fumble and the season is over, you see Travis Kelce go over to Kareem Hunt and let him know that the game isn't over. And they come back from break, and obviously I didn't know this was going on because I wasn't at the game or covering the game. But while it was at commercial break, you've got Chris Jones acting like Hulk Hogan, going from sideline to sideline and end zone, raising his hand. Like, the only thing I believe was missing was him, like, circling his hand and putting it to his ear. The Hulk Hogan, like, over here, what's that? They came back from break, because you were watching the TV version of it as well, Jack. They came back from break, and as they're zooming in from, like, the 4 o'clock of the Indianapolis Colts, you see Chris Jones, like, waving his arm. He was, not on the defensive line. He was closer to the cornerbacks, and he's waving his arm, and I'm like, I appreciate it. Like, this is a 7-play drive to end the season. Like, they're going to go 7 plays, take off like 6 minutes. There's going to be 8 minutes to play. They're going to punt it. Chiefs are going to start at their own 5-yard line or something, since that's been the story of this game. And maybe they get another score, and then the Colts run the clock out. Like, that's game. Kareem Hunt not scoring there, or Kareem Hunt fumbling, and the Chiefs not even getting a field goal down 20-9 is ball game. But that Chiefs team and that defense still believing. And that's where, Jack, you get into the, boy, until they're dead, they're not dead. Until you kill the champion, they're not dead. Because there's always one last gasp of the villain in a movie of reaching up and grabbing a leg or something like that. And that was the Chiefs saying, we're not dead yet. And they came out and got the punt, and the Chiefs go down and score, get the 2-point conversion, get another stop, 3 and out, get another stop, kick the field goal, almost win the game there, get another stop, kick the field goal and win the game. But I appreciate that team in a season that they've been experiencing this year, Jack. I think it would have been easy to go, well, what are we supposed to do here? It's not our season. We're down 11 points with 14 minutes to go. We just fumbled. The defense, I mean, what more do we have to do? I mean, we're holding them. They've scored 20 points. 7 of them was because of you, offense. And now we were feeling like we were getting back in the game. You could have walked out there and tucked your tail. And you learn a lot about teams when the adversity hits, and it's not something that's new for this team. It's just something, Jack, that had been missing from this team this year. I don't know if they build off this and now they start winning these games, but in that moment, for that time, they found the previous 7 years Kansas City Chiefs and made the plays they needed to make. And I wonder now if it's, okay, now we're back to being the Chiefs. We make these plays. Let's go.
Well, I found it interesting that
during the post game yesterday, we had Matt Derrick on, and he said that after that fumble, it's like I've never seen this before at Arrowhead, where during the commercial break there was no music, there was nothing pumped in the stadium, there was no crowd noise. Like you could have heard a pin drop there. They were not doing any promotional stuff.
It's a moment of silence for the Chiefs season.
It seriously was. It was just dead silent. And it's funny you bring up the Chris Jones getting the crowd pumped up, because that was a moment too where I looked at it and I said, it sounds weird, but there was only one way that crowd was going to get into it, and it was going to be dependent on where the Colts were starting that drive. If the Chiefs fumbled at the 40.
Yeah, it's a good call.
I mean, if you're saying get the crowd, it's like they got to go 10 yards here to really have a chance at a field goal. When you're backed up inside the 5, that's where you saw the first play, Jonathan Taylor stuffed for a loss of 2. Crowd gets into it a little bit more. Daniel Jones then has the incompletion, and then you have the third down, and there's nearly a safety in the end zone. And it almost gave the crowd a sense of, man, we need a field goal here, or we need to have this long drive. And if we get any points on this next drive, at least we have a shot now. And that's where Chris Jones, I mean, yes, he's gotten his fair share of criticism this year for being rather quiet. The Jacksonville game, the Denver game not showing up.
That was his
Chargers game. Yeah.
Losing contain.
If they didn't have a guy like Chris Jones yesterday
oh my God,
to
awesome.
slow down Jonathan Taylor, but also the energy. Mark Bowichter and I talked about, too, like you wanted to see in this game that amped-up Chiefs team that every tackle is they're pumping up the crowd, they're yelling, they're shoving each other in the chest. Like you want to see that energy, and you got it in the fourth quarter, and that's when the dynamic shifted, because you could see the Colts pucker up a little bit, where Tony Romo all afternoon long was, man, Daniel Jones looks really comfortable today, really comfortable. Then for whatever reason in the fourth quarter, they went away from Jonathan Taylor, and every play call was, I just don't want to turn it over. And I think the Chiefs got that arrogance and swagger back of, well, if you're going to play like that, we're just going to constantly punch you in the mouth, kick you in the throat, and give our offense a chance to win. They don't get that done whatsoever if the defense doesn't have, even 90% of that intensity. They were so intense for the fourth quarter in overtime, and those 23 minutes, as you've highlighted, it's going to be the 23 minutes, in my opinion, that we look back to. Because everybody on Twitter had every right to say, that's it. That is the final nail in the coffin.
I thought.
They've finally been laid to rest. But to bring up the WWE point here, very reminiscent of Randy Orton looking over the Undertaker in the coffin and then just grabbing him in the throat and then leaning up, and Randy Orton's freaking out. That was the Colts or all of the AFC yesterday, because they knew the Colts had that kill shot. They had him in the crosshairs, and now they've given him a pulse. They are not fixed. It does not mean they're going to run the table, but they've given the Chiefs the one thing they needed in the back half, which was simply just a heartbeat. Now they have it, and they could potentially win 2 games in 4 or 5 days.
There are so many players on this team that had standout plays that helped them win. And it's great and a positive that we're talking about that, rather than in losses we have to point out plays here or there where somebody did not make a play. And my frustration in the game was, I think I may have said this 30 times in the game. My God, would somebody make a play? Can somebody make a freaking play, cause a turnover, catch a ball that is a tough catch? He had an amazing game, but don't slip and fall, Rashee Rice, in the end zone. Somebody come through, make a catch. It wasn't the best of throws from Rashee Rice, from Mahomes to Rashee Rice on Sauce Gardner there. He had him. He didn't catch it either. It was later on after that particular drive that we're talking about that Shamari Connor didn't catch the interception. And I know that it looked live like they ran into each other, but that ball was off Connor's hands before Nick Bolton hit him. That ball hit Connor's left hand and was bouncing off before Bolton hit him. Now, maybe he was jumping and seeing Nick Bolton there. That may have been the deal, so I'll give a little bit of grace on that. But it's like, my God, somebody make a play. And then they finally did. And the reason I said there's so many different people that you can talk about that stepped up and made huge plays. Drew Tranquill has caught the ire of a lot of people, myself included, this year. That Buffalo game was brutal. It was a terrible game for him in Buffalo. And he bookended maybe 2 of the biggest defensive plays of the game. Chris Jones is getting the crowd pumped up. It's first down. people are complaining about Shane Steichen not handing off to Jonathan Taylor a lot. They're at their own 6-yard line. They give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. If he picks up 6 or 7 yards, it's a drive starter. There you go.
Crowd's out of it.
Yeah, they're ahead of the chains. Instead, Tranquil and Bolton come through, and he loses 2 yards. And now you're at your own 4 with 2nd and 12, and then it's don't turn it over, quick passes, get it out, and then they punt. They punt it away, and the Chiefs go down. They score the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion, and you get right back out there. And I know that people have complained about the 2nd and 3rd possession especially, that those were all 6 passes. All 3 of those possessions were passes. But that doesn't give credit, I think, to what Brian Cook then did. I think Brian Cook had one of his best games after last week. I criticized him a lot for that last throw from Bo Nix to Troy Franklin, where I thought a safety with a little more instincts would have been over there to knock that away because there was nobody to his left, nobody in front of him. The only area he would have had to cover that entire play was over the top of Jalen Watson. But while I say that, Jack, credit where credit is due, because I thought when we're talking about those final 4 possessions, Brian Cook was brilliant. The start of the 2nd possession, people are like, why didn't you give it to Jonathan Taylor? Well, the last possession, you handed it off to Jonathan Taylor. They brought everybody in a run blitz, and he lost 2 yards. So what do the Colts do? They run a play action to Jonathan Taylor. Look left and find Michael Pittman for 8 yards. But Brian Cook comes in and knocks the ball away. That's massive. It's an 8-yard gain. We just went play action. Now it's 2nd and 2. Now we can start giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, play action. You can't go all out for the run because now you don't know what we're going to do. So now that we've got the drive started, we've picked up a first down, we can go play action, we can hand off because we just showed you play action and picked up 8 yards. Spags, you still want to run blitz? You still want a heavy run blitz against us? Because we just picked up 8 yards on a play action. So we don't have to just give it to Jonathan Taylor and be obvious. And just be predictable in what we're going to do. But Brian Cook came through and chopped that ball away, and it's an incomplete pass. And then on 2nd down, they threw the screen pass to Jonathan Taylor. And you know who got off the offensive lineman's block? Brian Cook, to come up and make the tackle on Jonathan Taylor for 7 yards. The Chiefs blitzed on the side of the screen pass. That should have been a 20-yard gain. He caught the ball. There were blockers in front of him. I thought, oh no, this is going to be one of those big plays where you're like, they got him. Spags blitzed on 2nd and 10. The Colts knew it. They threw the screen pass. But the offensive lineman didn't contain the block or hold the block long enough because Brian Cook slipped off of it and then makes the tackle on Jonathan Taylor. Like, just amazing plays by Brian Cook. And then the final drive in overtime, it's 1st down and 10. It's a play action, a pass to Ogletree for 4 yards. There's one guy out there. It's Brian Cook being blocked by Michael Pittman. One guy. You know who makes the tackle? Brian Cook, because he got through Michael Pittman, who's a damn good blocker. So I was very critical of Brian Cook last week. He's having a phenomenal season. And Chris Jones was awesome. Drew Tranquil was awesome. Jalen Watson played good coverage there. Trent McDuffie, like everybody had their role and stepped up and played well. Jaden Hicks making the tackle on Michael Pittman for the 6-yard gain. The last possession of regulation for the Colts. It was 3rd down and 10. They threw the little under to Michael Pittman. Jaden Hicks came up and made the tackle on the legs. And then they got the delay of game penalty. But credit where credit is due. There are a lot of people that we can talk about. Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Kareem Hunt, good God. I mean, carrying the workload that I don't know that I would have ever seen in an Andy Reid season or game. But guys had to step up and make plays individually. And there were 3 or 4 individual plays made by a safety who I criticized for lacking instincts last week, who was all over those plays and was in position quite frankly, because you have to have instincts in those positions to see where the ball is going. So credit Brian Cook for an amazing game as well. There are so many different people we can talk about, but if we're talking about the last 23 minutes and those last 4 possessions, Chris Jones was good, obviously, Tranquil, Bolton, but I think Brian Cook made the plays that resulted in 3 of the 4 of those possessions being punts.
I mean, how many times this season, and you could make a case in all 5 of their losses, did we look at the defense and say, just get one stop here? Can you...
Somebody make a play.
Somebody make a play, end the game. They clearly don't turn the ball over at a high rate, so it comes down to 3rd and 10, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 2. Can you come up with the big play? And you go back to week 1, Chargers, 3rd and 18 or whatever it was. Chris Jones, instead of contain, goes inside, as we talked about. He runs for 25 yards and a first down. The Eagles game, they had that drive at the very end where they weren't moving the ball that effectively. It was just little by little by little, couldn't get off the field. And you have the tush push over and over again. The 3rd loss of the year, Jacksonville. We all know about that one. They couldn't get the final stop there with under 3 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Trevor Lawrence falls down, scores. 4th loss of the year, Buffalo couldn't really get off the field at any point. Denver, that final drive that set up the game-winning field goal, also when they're up 19-16. This is the one they had to have. And it's why in the NFL, momentum is a real thing. I'm not sure in any other sport momentum really is a massive factor. To me, when you win like this against a good team, it's totally different if they did this to the Raiders or they did this to the Commanders. They grinded it out for 4 quarters, had to go into overtime. It's a Colts team that has an MVP candidate, was 8-2, a top seed in the AFC, and your season was on the line. Sometimes when you win like that and you have these guys step up that have been heavily criticized, it can catapult you the rest of the way, which is, I think it's an amazing spot to be in, playing on Thanksgiving. The Cowboys overcame a 21-0 deficit, but to be able to take this type of win and go into Thursday, where people are still saying, yeah, there's a ways to go here, but if they can take Sunday's win on Thursday, their next game after an extended break off is Sunday Night Football against the team they're chasing, and the Texans. That's when you can see the AFC tightening up a little bit and going, you had them dead to rights. You finally had an opportunity to put them away. None of us, you feel like this top 7 teams right now in the AFC, they're working together of just do not let Kansas City in. Do whatever you can to make sure they're not in, because we all deserve a chance. They've had their chance over the last 6 seasons, but all the Chiefs needed was for 1 or 2 guys, whether it be offense or defense, to step up and make the play when it mattered. And, I give a lot of credit, too, to not even a player in the situation, the crowd. You heard all yesterday on Twitter how amazing the crowd was, how loud they were. And it's tough. We've all been to games. It's tough to be into it when your team has laid an egg for 3 quarters and they hadn't even scored a touchdown, and they just needed that one momentum or one spot in the game to spark them. It ended up being that 3 and out when they were backed up inside the 10-yard line. If they get 1 first down there, I know hindsight's 20/20. I believe the game's over. If they get 1 first down, you get your heels off the goal line. You're able to punt it probably to Kansas City's 40 or 30-yard line, and it's a much different drive. But the fact that they got nothing on that drive, the Chiefs go down and score rather quickly, then it turned into that mode of now the Colts have no more momentum. They have no more confidence. They're nervous. The crowd's into it. You haven't had a game like that this season where you got to come back and you could see the tides shift so drastically. And I do believe Indianapolis has its limitations. They hadn't shown it until the 4th quarter. And now that you have that blueprint on him a little bit of make him a little bit uncomfortable, make Daniel Jones beat you, there is that recipe for success. And now you got to do the same thing, but tougher to do it on the road in front of a sold-out crowd.
He knew Spags was blitzing, and he was looking first read, get the ball out. Because that throw to Tyler Warren that was almost intercepted by Shamari Connor. The next drive, the throw to Tyler Warren that wasn't open, Christian Wallace was over there. That was a 3-step drop with a blitz, and he immediately threw it. There's nobody there. The 3rd down throw to Michael Pittman, he just throws it immediately. And it's low and away to Michael Pittman. Jalen Watson was on the coverage, but that was 3rd down. They end up punting it, but that was big. Spags brings the blitz. Daniel Jones sees it and immediately throws it early while fading away. If he stops on his back foot and fires a dart and hits it between the ones, I think it might be a first down. But he was sped up, And Daniel Jones hadn't necessarily been in that position very often with the Colts this year. They've had some comebacks, but that position very often on the road against the champs and to try to, knock that particular team off. It was a phenomenal survival for the Kansas City Chiefs. And again, Drew Tranquill bookend for those 4 possessions. The first play of that possession at the own 5-yard line, 6-yard line, getting the tackle on Jonathan Taylor for 2-yard loss. And then the final possession in overtime, 3rd down and 1, getting the tackle on Jonathan Taylor for a 2-yard loss. Pretty badass game from Drew Tranquill, who we criticized in the Bills game. Amazing game from Brian Cook, who we criticized after the Broncos game. And Chris Jones had his best game in a long time, who we have criticized many times this year. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. 913-381-0810. Want to take your phone calls on the other side. How you feeling after that victory from the Chiefs over the Colts? Feeling better? Feeling the same? Is this delaying the inevitable? Is this the turnaround to the season? What do they do on Thanksgiving? How you feeling about the playoffs? What you saw in the game? 913-381-0810. We'll take a timeout. Coming up an hour from now, we'll talk with Field Yates, ESPN NFL Insider. We've got Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. We got more Zone coming up next. I'm not sure if you know about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving. It's turkey for eating, table for gathering, and touchdowns for winning. And with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown can bring you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action is in your hands. First touchdowns, anytime touchdowns, live bets, every play, every snap, every game counts for DraftKings. And that Thursday Thanksgiving Day, including the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys, and Patrick Mahomes going home. Patrick playing at Mahomes there in Dallas. Does he have a big day? We'll find out. How many touchdowns does he throw? He didn't need any yesterday. The Chiefs got the W with him not throwing a touchdown, but we'll see what he does in Dallas. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us until 11:30. We'll talk with Field Yates coming up at 11:30. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. I want to play this clip from Patrick Mahomes because, he talked for a while there at the podium, and it was not the canned coach speak packaged answers from Patrick that you get from time to time, especially after a loss, or maybe even especially after a win. I don't know, just depending on, what the questions are. But here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in on, this was a game they just had to have.
This is exactly what we needed. To win against a really good football team and the game's not going your way, you could have folded in that situation and kind of been the rest of the season. But the guys responded and then found a way to win on every single unit. I mean, offense, we found a way at the end. Defense stood tall multiple times to give us chances. And then Harrison and Ariza did a great job flipping the field and making field goals. So we needed a win like this, and now let's just try to build off of it.
I mean, if he says so, I thought the same thing. Like, man, this is something that, do you quote-unquote need that to happen? I think the need was to win a game, first and foremost, but the need that you have to make plays in a one-possession game, in a one-score game, and you've been 0-5 this year, and then you make the plays to do that. To come back from down 11 in the fourth quarter when, your back is against the wall and you've got to come through and make a play. 913-810-810 is the phone number. So curious and interesting to hear that from Patrick Mahomes that, hey, we had to have that one. That was one we needed to come through and make plays like that. And it's what we talked about in the first segment of them coming through. And we didn't even really talk much about the offense and what they were able to do and how often they haven't come through in those situations this year. That's been probably the biggest frustration of this year, along with other things. But maybe the biggest one is the opportunities that it felt like the offense has had to win a game that they haven't been able to come through. Mahomes talked about that after the Broncos game and said the biggest frustration is those last two possessions going 3 and out. And that last one, you got the ball with 4 minutes in a tie game and you go 3 and out. That's the thing that's going to stick with them. And 3 of the last 4 possessions for the Chiefs, they put up 14 points. Could have put up more. Would have been nice to end the game maybe in regulation with a touchdown. Didn't happen, but you win in overtime. You get the touchdown, the 3 and out, then a field goal, overtime, field goal, and you outgain the Colts by 260 yards after the Kareem Hunt fumble. You run 25 more plays than they do after the Kareem Hunt fumble, and that only happens if you have plays being made at certain times, like a 2nd and 13 at your own 3-yard line, Jack, and a 47-yard pass to Rashee Rice. With Mahomes, by the way, staying in the pocket, trusting, standing 4 yards deep in the end zone, and standing in the pocket and waiting for Rashee Rice to cut open over the middle and to find him. Like, we haven't talked much about the offense, but those were plays that had to be made. Defense kept them in there. The offense finally figured it out.
They were plays they had to make, and they altered the outcome. Because every drive, it felt like they were starting up or backed up inside their own 10. And you play the odds there. Yes, you can always have faith in Patrick Mahomes and this offense finding a way to get it done. Harrison Butker can kick it from 60-plus yards, so you really only have to go about 50, maybe 60 yards instead of 70 or 80. Still, it was not a recipe for success based on what had happened the last couple of weeks. You had chances against Denver. You didn't even pick up a first down. You had chances against Buffalo. You only got 21 points in that game. And so against the Colts, what I was so impressed with was after they had all the momentum on their side, they had forced another punt from Indianapolis. They're backed up inside their own 10-yard line. I believe there was a hold or something, a shocker on special teams, that put them at the 5, and they went 3 and out. And they didn't even gain a yard. They had to punt on 4th and 11, I believe it was, and that sucked the energy out of the crowd a little bit. But then the defense comes through again. They get that chance, and when Rashee Rice had the breakaway run where it just hit in stride, probably Patrick Mahomes' best throw of the day just because it was right in stride, exactly where it needed to be, a 47-yard pickup. At that point, if you didn't have all the confidence in the world they were winning that game, even though they went to overtime, I really got nothing for you because at that point in the game, I went, okay, now everybody can breathe a little bit easier. They are in Indianapolis territory. You get a big catch and run like that. Now you feel everything's going to open up, and really it did. My only complaint was that backed up, or when you had the Colts, with their heels at the goal line as well, it's 1st and goal at the 3, and you can't find one play to get it done. What's crazy about it, though, too, even with the way the 2 previous games had gone, when they kicked the field goal, I still went, they're winning this in overtime. Like, I really kept that confidence because of how that 4th quarter had transpired. There was nothing the Colts were doing offensively or defensively that made me think they were going to flip a switch. It was clear the Chiefs had flipped the switch. Now the hope is this switch was not just for one game. It's the switch they needed for the rest of the way, and it's got to start on Thursday in Dallas.
Yeah, the confidence I had, and we'll get to your phone calls, the confidence I had going into overtime was Daniel Jones the first 3 quarters versus the 4th quarter was totally different. The 4th quarter, he was rattled. I got to get the ball out quickly. They're bringing the heat. The crowd is loud, and I'm throwing inaccurately while throwing off my back foot just because I've got pressure in my face. Going into overtime, I don't know that was just going to flip. A switch was going to be flipped, and okay, Daniel Jones looks like he's feeling like he did in the 1st quarter when it's like, oh, we're playing great football, and I'm just dropping back and finding open receivers. 913-381-0810. We start off with Tommy Moe on this Victory Monday. Tommy, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
First off, can I ask your co-host a personal question?
Depending on what it is. I don't know.
You're not related in any way to Stan Weber because you look like Stan, you sound like Stan, and maybe I thought maybe for professional reasons you just changed your name. I know Stan has some sons that are very successful. You're not a Weber, is that correct?
It's Jack Weber.
I have played his son, but no, I'm not related. I've played his son in basketball, but no, not related.
I thought you meant like you played his son like in a TV show or
Am I
something.
the only one ever that's brought that up to you, Jack?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
You're
His
the only
first
one I've ever heard say that, so, I mean, I would guess that would be the same for Jack. But, yeah, that's apparently you are the first one, Tommy. Well done.
But I will take issue with Chris Jones. I thought, Jack, you played a pretty damn good game against Denver. You didn't play – you characterize it as not a good game when you rattle off. Many times this year I've said, where is Chris Jones? The Denver game – he kind of woke up, had a sack, had some other plays. I'm sorry he didn't beat a triple team on the 3rd and 15 play.
He should have.
Bridge too far. But I think you're going to have to give Chris Jones. He played well against Denver, has taken that momentum into the game. And I did see it on the TV when he was getting the fans fired up, where it seemed like the stadium was maybe taken back by the fumble, didn't know how to act, didn't know what to do. So I will give you guys credit for talking about Chris Jones and his way he did get the crown going.
Yeah.
But I will also talk about, you said you were talking about the special teams. I know Nico Remigio is not the second coming of Deion Sanders when it comes to the return game, especially the punt game. But I counted probably 6-7 times this year.
6-7.
As soon as he catches a punt, there's somebody on his legs. Within it's not like college. We have to give a 1-yard bubble. There's guys tackling him as soon as he touches the ball. While I watch Denver, the Colts return guy, they get the ball, nobody around them. 8, 10, 12 yards before a Chief engages. So I don't know. Joshua Williams has not been active the last couple weeks, and we try to use Thornton and this week Fulton as the gunner as well as the blocker
Knowles,
on the gunner. It's been horrible.
Yeah.
So like I said, I know it's a very small, minute thing, but I like to at least see our punt returner, in this case Nico, at least have 3 yards of running before someone engages into him. Am I asking too much, Jason?
Apparently. Apparently you are, Tommy. I think Remigio's fine, and I granted, he does not have a lot of space to run, and I don't know. Well, we won't hear from Dave Tobe this week, I don't think, but I don't know if it was that Ariza was just simply out kicking his coverage, and that's why there was so much space.
48-yard punt.
Yeah.
Before you say that, I don't want to hear that as a Dave Tobe excuse.
Right.
It was a 48-yard punt.
Yeah. So if it's guys can't get off the block when they're the gunners, and the Chiefs blockers cannot limit the gunners, whatever it might be, like Remigio has not had a whole lot of space. I am fully confident he's going to catch the football, so that's first and foremost. He doesn't have any burst, so it is more difficult for him to escape that first guy. who's on him. But
well, that would be like
catches
you,
football.
Jason, with your mic cutting out every 3 seconds. You're not a very good sports host talk show person if your mic is cutting out every 3 or 4 seconds. But if it's on for a full hour, you're pretty damn good, aren't you?
Well,
My point exactly.
Tommy, appreciate the phone call, brother.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Yep, 913-381-0810 is the phone number. Look, maybe it's because that Chris Jones played so well in this one. We look at it and go, well, did he play all that well in the Denver game? He had the sack there that kept the Broncos out of the end zone, that forced that field goal when it was third down at like the 7 or 8 yard line and got Bo Nix. I thought he was fine against the Broncos, but I feel like that's sort of where we're at with Chris Jones this year, is that playing against the Broncos where I thought he was fine. And yes, he's double teamed a lot, where I'm like, okay, he was fine in that game. That would have been like in the past, I don't know, where was Chris Jones, you know? But I thought he was fine. This was vintage Chris Jones in this one. He was dominant. He was at big moments forcing the pocket back, double teams, tossing a guy out of the way, taking on somebody else. Like, it was really good. It was a big game from Chris Jones, and they needed it. They needed him to come through. They're going to get those penalties cleaned up. Andy says it. And so it's going to happen, right? Like, they're going to get those cleaned up. They're going to get that stuff cleaned. It's going to be cleaned up, guys. I think Mick Schaefer had the best tweet. He said, the Chiefs clean things up like my kids. We're going to get that cleaned up. Oh, are you? Well, I cleaned. Like, what do you mean you cleaned? There are 7 things still on the floor. Well, you said do that over there. I said clean. How do you look at the floor and you're not, like, you've got to pick that up too. Where does that go? Okay.
Fine.
Tobe, can you stop committing penalties? Well, you said Butker start making field goals. What more do you... Hey, we need you to... less penalties. But Butker's kicking it into the landing zone now. Right, but kickoff returns and punt returns and punt coverage and kick coverage, we need... Oh, my God, what more do you want from me? Like, every week you're complaining about something with this special teams. We can't be great at everything, right? They don't typically clean those things up, and they haven't this year. But, yeah, special teams has been an issue, and that is very evident in the return game when it's like there is nobody near Gould returning a punt. It's like 20-yard return almost, it feels like, every time, and Nico Remigio's got somebody in his face. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour. We'll take your phone calls at the start of the next hour, 913-381-810. Some texts coming in as well that I want to get to and read. We'll hear from Field Yates coming up at 11:30 from ESPN, NFL Insider. Get his thoughts on this Chiefs win, what it means moving forward, a breakdown of the Dallas Cowboys game on Thursday. We do have some news on Trey Smith. Ian Rappaport reporting that Trey Smith dealing with both high and low ankle sprains. He's expected to miss some time. So likely out against the Cowboys on Thursday is Trey Smith. Not all that surprising. We'll see how much more time he has to miss. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, talking Victory Monday for the Kansas City Chiefs. Rough weekend for the local college football teams. 913-381-0810. Let's head back to the phone lines. And Jerry joins us next here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jerry, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Oh, just mess around. It's been probably more than a month since I've called you guys, but a lot has happened since then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they got their win. Did you happen to hear Stephen St. John talk about the GM Ballard going off at the press box?
No,
morning?
I did not hear that. What time was that said? I listened to almost the whole show.
Well, I don't know. He was talking about it early. Then when Garrett Dieter got on, I kind of had stuff to do. I got back to it about a 7:45. But him and Todd were talking, and I guess Bethany and Stephen were listening to this guy going off about stuff, and I was just going to say it sounded a lot like me at the house watching this Chiefs game. It's like, oh, no, we're freaking out. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, it's okay. They're okay. Funny. And I guess that guy kept doing that. You got to listen to that. That was really funny.
Check it out.
Questions I have is Travis Kelce with his Wildcat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that one where he made his touchdown, but they didn't give it? I think it was a phantom face mask call.
Face mask, yeah.
I didn't think you could challenge those things, but my brother told me last night, he's like, Andy Reid could have challenged that and didn't do it. And I'm like, what? I thought all touchdown plays should be reviewed automatically, and I guess maybe unless there's a penalty there. But I didn't think that Andy Reid had the power to challenge that one because that took the touchdown away. And before you respond to that, I'd just like to say I think the referees should get a D+ for their performance. They were dumb, plus they can't see very well. And I think Bethany should get an A for cornering Travis Kelce with all the questions. That was pretty awesome. But it was a good game overall, and I hope they're back in the swing of things. I'll be rooting for them the rest of the year, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Jerry, I appreciate the phone call, man. 913-381-0810. The reason it wasn't challenged is I think it has to come from the booth because it was a scoring play. I'm not sure about the ruling on a scoring play that is brought back on a penalty if you then need to challenge that from the sideline. There wasn't a grab of the face mask. There wasn't a grabbing and pulling at an opening of the face mask or the helmet in any way. But I wonder from that standpoint if it was like it wasn't clear and obvious that it was not a face mask. That's why they didn't review it on their own. But yeah, it was not a face mask. And it took 4 points off the board for the Kansas City Chiefs in a game that Colts fans are convinced that the Chiefs got the better end of the whistle. And the only reason they lost is because of the referees.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, which makes total sense.
We got to stop acting surprised by it.
Yeah, like the ref that made that one tackle on Jonathan Taylor, that was amazing. Like I didn't think he would run blitz like that. And then the ref that was wearing the number 6 jersey for the Chiefs was pretty awesome. The ref wearing number 4 on offense, that was pretty bad. He was really good in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Fast.
Yeah, dude.
He could really move.
Yeah, refs aren't typically that fast, but he was really fast. And then the ref wearing the number 1 jersey that caught the 31-yarder on 3rd and 7 in overtime, that was a great play by that ref too. So, yeah, just a great game all around by the refs winning that game, according to Colts fans who are just like Lions fans and anybody else that the Chiefs beat. You can't just simply take the loss. You just can't. You can't just simply sit back and say we got beat. You got to feel like you have somehow you have been wronged in some way. It's not that your team lost and blew an 11-point lead. It was stolen from you by somebody else, some alternate force, and you've been cheated out of what is rightfully yours. That's the other thing. Rightfully. I think it's also because Colts people felt like they were going to come into Kansas City and win big. So
and they were up. They were up for 3 quarters. So
yeah, I mean, they were up 11.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of that, Jack, before the game. I think the Colts win by double digits. I think the Colts are going to go in there and and put a blowout loss on the Chiefs. The Colts are going to blow the Chiefs out in this game, and then you lose, and it's like, well, why didn't they do that? They were up 11. Well, it's the refs. It's got to be. Team was good enough.
I would say too that, I mean, it's one thing to predict, Indianapolis to win yesterday. You had every right to. They were 8-2. The Chiefs were vulnerable, and for 3 quarters, they showed they controlled that game and were the much better team. I've never understood, though, the prediction of blowing out the Chiefs. That just doesn't happen.
Right?
It's under 10 times for sure that it's happened. And some of the games are complete anomalies. Like the one game to me that I'll always go back to, so I don't know how it happened. I don't know how his final score was when the Titans beat him 28-3 in Nashville. Yeah. That's the one blowout loss I went, man, really did not see that coming. I understood the blowout loss to Tampa Bay. I understood the blowout loss to Philadelphia. That's the one where I go, that doesn't add up at all. But I never saw a blowout game happening. In hindsight's 2020, of course. But to me, if you're ever making a prediction, no matter how confident you feel in your team, the Chiefs don't lose by double digits. They may lose, as they've done 5 times this year in one-score games. But the easiest pick was the Colts win this game and the Chiefs can't get something done late, which for the first time all year they were able to do it in a one-score game.
Yeah, dating back to last Monday, the Chiefs were undefeated in one-score games. Dating back to last Monday. So if we start on November 17th, they haven't lost a one-score game. I don't know why everybody's focusing on the 5 previous one-score games.
In the past.
Yeah, like live in the future, live in the now, the present. This game is the present. We don't need to go back 7 freaking days ago, 8 days ago. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, dude. And also, like I do want to point out the starting field position in this one, because you had mentioned that it seemed like the Chiefs were starting with their backs against the end zone, essentially inside their own 10, 15, 20-yard line. And that was like the story of the game in terms of drives. Indianapolis had 10 drives, and only one of those 10 started inside their own 25-yard line. And that came on the Kareem Hunt fumble. So the only time they started inside their own 25-yard line, they just turned the Chiefs over, up 11, with all the confidence and momentum, whatever that means, everything in your favor. That's the only time they started inside their 25-yard line. The Chiefs had 11 drives. 7 of them were inside their 25-yard line. They started at the 4, the 6, the 10, the 12, the 15, the 20, and the 22. 7 different drives started inside their own 25-yard line. One of those for the Colts started inside their own 25-yard line. Like, the Colts offense had a better game script for them, and yet still scored 20 points on the day. 7 of those was a 3-yard drive, touchdown drive. So essentially they scored 13 points in the game when they had to actually do it. They had 1 touchdown drive. 8 plays, scored a touchdown once in the game out of the other 9 drives that they had. And that was the number 1 offense in the league heading into that game. 913-381-0810. Let's go to John next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, what's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, to your point that you're just talking about, with all their drives starting within the 25-yard line, a lot of it had to do with penalties on punts or kickoffs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. I don't know if this is legal anymore, but years and years ago, especially on punts, teams always had 3 guys back. And, 2 guys would be up about 15, maybe 15 yards from the guy back that's supposed to field the punt. And to me, nowadays, when they line up at the line of scrimmage, most of the time, the Chiefs, whoever is on defense, is running side by side, trying to keep up with the guy that's running down the field to try to tackle the guy that's going to receive the punt. So I always kind of believe that no wonder they get blocks in the back or holds, because they're always trying to catch up or stay with the person running down. Why can't they put 2 men back? I always thought watching a guy come toward you, you'd be able to bump him a couple times at least to be able to block and not be in a position to hold all the time. So is that against the rules, or why doesn't a team try that anymore? I just think that makes a lot of sense.
I think the more people you put back for, and it sort of depends on down and distance, because if it's near the 50-yard line and it's like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, then you don't want to be susceptible to a fake punt. But if you're looking at 4th and 10 and they're at their own like 25-yard line, then yeah, I could see where you set up a full-on return. It felt like they're late on some of those punts that Dave Tobe was bringing a punt block, because they got close a couple of times, and it was like you got one-on-one on the outside, to your point of what you're talking about, and, Remigio didn't have a whole lot of space to run, and they got close to blocking it. It just felt like there was a number of, let's go in and try to block this thing. And I'm like, let's just get some field position here. Let's get some blocks for Remigio and see if he can pull off a 10 or 15 or 20-yard return and get some more, positive vibes that way, instead of, all right, Mahomes is jogging out to inside his 10-yard line again. Familiar place for them. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
I'd love to see him try something like that, especially to your point. If it's 4th and 2 or 3, I completely agree with you. But if it's 4th and 10 or 15 or whatever, why not try something like that once in a while? I'd love to see it.
Yeah. John, I appreciate the phone call, man. 913-381-810-810. Let's go to Scott next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Scott, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Very good.
Man, I think the Chiefs have officially reached cockroach status, and I'll say because you can't kill them, and maybe I might eat my words because we might lay an egg on Thursday. But man, if I am a New England fan, an Indy fan, a Denver fan, I am not wanting the Chiefs to make the playoffs, because how many times have we in Kansas City run this movie back where, we do really well against Elway in the regular season, and he comes into Arrowhead when we're 13-3 and breaks our heart, or even,
oh my God, yeah,
Peyton Manning or Ben Roethlisberger or whatever. There is no NFL fan, aside from the fact that everybody hates the Chiefs right now, which, hey, great, good for them. But, two, nobody's going to want to see 15 on Wild Card Weekend. I can promise you that, and especially knowing that we just had to rattle off 6 or 7 in a row to get into the playoffs. So that win yesterday was absolutely huge for many, many, many reasons. But, I mean, this is – the Royals are a late 90s, early 2000s Yankee – or, no, I'm sorry, the Chiefs are a late 90s, early 2000s Yankees team. I always felt like the Cardinals were cockroaches in the middle 2000s. Like, they beat 10 games out of first on August 15th, and all of a sudden they're winning the World Series. It's just, it has to be infuriating to fans of other teams as we see on social media. But, I'm give us, chip in a chair, basically. Just give us a chance, get us to January. And this is going to be our favorite Super Bowl that we talk about to our grandkids. Michael, you remember when the Chiefs were,
5-5 and down by 11 in the fourth.
In a row. So, yeah. But
yeah.
Anyway, appreciate you guys.
Hey,
have a great Monday,
Scott.
And we'll see you, buddy.
Yeah, Scott, you too, man. 913-381-810-810. I love that. Cockroach status is what they're at now, because you can't kill them. And as he said, we'll see on Thursday. Although, based on the schedule, if this team is 6-6, I talked about this last week and said, if we wake up on Friday, Black Friday, and the Chiefs are 6-6, as long as the win was the Colts, they're not in a terrible spot, because then they have Texans and Chargers at home and then at Titans. Now, at that point, you need to win out, or at most you can only lose one more game. You should be able to take care of the Titans and the Raiders. Texans at home, you've got a mini bye. The Texans are playing at the Colts next Sunday. So that's a big one for the Texans in the AFC South. That's tightened up all of a sudden with the Chiefs coming back and beating the Colts, and the fact that you've got the Jags that found a way to come back and win in overtime against the Cardinals. Then you've got the Chargers at home, who are playing the Eagles on Monday Night Football before they head into town. And I think the Chargers are heading in the wrong direction. Then you head to Tennessee, you should win that game. So even if they were to lose on Thursday, I think they're 9-6 taking on the Broncos at home, with a 2-week stretch of saying 2 wins, you get to 11, and you're probably in the playoffs. We'll see what the records are at that point. It might be, 2 wins and you need help still. I don't know. But I think they could lose on Thursday and still be in okay shape to make the playoffs. They win on Thursday, I feel really good about this team making the playoffs because that would give them 7 wins. They'll beat the Titans and Raiders. That gives them 9, which means Texans, Chargers, and Broncos, can you go 2-1 in that stretch? Because that will get you to 11 wins. So if they win on Thursday, I think the rest of the AFC is going to be pretty annoyed. There were only 2 fan bases that liked that win yesterday, Chiefs and Jags. That's it. Everybody else was like, mother bleeper, here come the Chiefs. The Colts could not take care of business. Jags fans were fine with it. They've got the tiebreaker over the Chiefs, and they're trying to win the division.
I'm trying to even think the last time an 11-win team didn't make the playoffs. I know it's a little bit different now that you have 17 games, but
17 games, there's only been one team that won at least 10 games in the AFC and NFC with the 17-game season that did not make the playoffs. So it's like 1 out of 45.
You feel good about the chance. I mean, it's one thing
this year,
to look
though, the
now.
tiebreakers are against you with some of these.
I don't know. I look at them right now with the 9 of the 10 seed, whatever they are, and yes, you've got Jacksonville, Houston, the Chargers, Broncos, Patriots, Colts, Ravens now all ahead of you. But let's be honest, all of those teams in the final 6 games of the regular season going to play really good football. You just play the odds there. Some will. Undoubtedly, some are going to play good football. 4-2, 5-1, maybe 6-0. The reality is, probably more than one of those teams, I would say 2 to 3 of those teams, is not going to play good football. Somebody's going to be on the losing side of a game they're not supposed to lose. And if you're the Chiefs, all your focus should be on is, yes, winning each and every game that you can. But if you start rolling, the pressure's only going to get turned up on some of those teams. The heat is going to be turned up, which is why it's good that it bodes well. Your 3 road games are against a Dallas team that is 5-5-1. They're playing much better. They're coming off a huge win against Philadelphia, but 2 bottom barrel teams that will have nothing to play for the back half of their schedule. And your home games are all against teams that you are chasing. You're chasing the Texans. You're chasing the Chargers. You're chasing the Broncos. It lines up for you incredibly well here. And I have no doubt in my mind, if they find a way to win on Thursday, I know I've already said this, so I'll just echo it. That's when you're going to see a shift, I believe, in how some teams are playing. You are going to see a handful of those wild card teams pucker up a little bit, knowing that they really can't have any let up there. Because if there's one team that has the ability of winning their final 6 games, as rough as the Chiefs have looked this year, is there any other team that you have the utmost confidence they're winning out the rest of the way?
No.
To me, I see at least one loss on all of those teams' schedule, and I still do with Kansas City, but based off past history, what they've been able to do and what their schedule looks like, it's right there in front of them. But to me, it all comes down to Thursday's game. You win that one, my confidence level in the postseason goes up 20 to 30% just because of what's left there.
I think Baltimore has a chance to win out. They've got the Bengals twice, although if Joe Burrow's returning, they could have used – it's like the defense is terrible, and it's not Joe Burrow. He can't play defense, right? They could have used Joe Burrow against the Patriots. I mean, the defense stepped up and played pretty well against New England. But, like, when you look at the teams ahead of them, you know, Baltimore, the tiebreaker no longer matters, at least currently, because Baltimore is leading their division. They haven't played the Steelers, but the Steelers have a better conference record and division record than the Chiefs, so they've got the tiebreaker over the Chiefs right now. The Steelers and Baltimore still play twice. The Chiefs have the same record as Pittsburgh, same record as Baltimore. They've got the tiebreaker over Baltimore. So either both of those teams will add one more loss, or one of those teams will add 2 more losses to their resume. So that gives them 6 right there, or even 7 losses for either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. You have the Chargers in front of you. You've got the Texans in front of you. You would then have the same record as the Chargers. Division record is going to be rough for you, tied with the Chargers, because the Chargers right now in division is 3-0. Chiefs are 1-2. Chargers are 6-2 in the conference. Chiefs are 3-4. Those tiebreakers don't work in your favor even if you beat the Chargers. You need the Chargers to lose again along the way. And certainly Jacksonville, it'd be nice if a couple of these games that they are surviving, if they could, find a way to lose those games. They go to Denver. They go to Indianapolis. They play Indianapolis at home. So they've got both of those games. So that's 3 games, Indianapolis twice and Denver. And you need them to, you need to be a game up on the Jags there. unless, of course, the Colts lose a couple more games and you win out, then you've got the tiebreaker over Indianapolis, and Jags, go and win their division. Who knows if that's the case, because the Jags have the Colts twice. So the Jags control their own destiny in their division. It's fascinating there, because they're 1-1 against Houston, and if they win out, they control their own destiny. They would have beaten the Colts twice, and they would have a better record than the Indianapolis Colts. So it's going to be interesting, but I don't look at it and say, one team is going to win out. Let's sneak in Jason here before we take a break and talk with Field Yates. Jason, go right ahead. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Jason, I feel like, as I'm driving down this 405 highway in L.A., figured, but might as well bother another Jason.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.
In.
We need to stick together.
So we got to stick together. So this has always been an indicator that Casey's going to win something, or just anything. Generally, it always seems like if somebody says, the Chiefs, let me go back. Pat Mahomes has never beat the Colts. Or, KC has played bad against Lou, whatever the defensive coordinator. It always seems like a team will always win. Just like last year on the Super Bowl, they said, Chiefs always beat Vic Fangio every single time. And what happened? We got blown out. That is usually always the indicator that Casey's always going to win. And I'm hoping they say something crazy against the Cowboys this weekend or Thursday. And then that's the indicator that we'll take that game too. So I'm hoping that will happen. That's it. That's all I needed to say.
Jason, I appreciate you listening to L.A., man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. 913-381-0810. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will hear from Field Yates. Jack, appreciate you, brother. Enjoy your trip to Wichita.
Heading there now. Good
Yes.
weather. Highway should be nice and easy.
That's right. You got 30 minutes to get there. I'm not sure how it's
Easy.
going to happen.
Easy.
I think you can get there in like 25 seconds.
I mean, I got a Ferrari, so.
I don't know if that's going to help you. 25 seconds, I think you'll be in Wichita. Appreciate you, brother. Coming up at 1 o'clock, KU pregame is going to be on ESPN Kansas City because the Jayhawks play some basketball today at 2:30. Pregame starting at 1 o'clock. We head till 2 here on 810 in the Zone. 1 o'clock is when the KU pregame will start. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. I don't know if you knew this, but the 3 T's of Thanksgiving, you have any idea what those are? If you don't, it's turkey for eating, table for gathering, and touchdowns for winning, because you need touchdowns to win, even when you're playing DraftKings. If you got those anytime touchdowns, first touchdowns, multiple touchdowns, live bet touchdowns, you need those to go and win. And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown can bring you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action, it is in your hands. First touchdown, anytime touchdown, live bets. Every play, every snap, every game counts. And the best part, new customers bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
He'll help you fantasy focus while he scoops the news. He's on TV more often than he's in bed. He'll break down the NFL without a single hair ever out of place. It's Field Yates of ESPN. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We continue rolling along on this Monday edition of the show. We'll hear some Kansas City Chiefs sound coming up in the noon hour. Let's talk with our NFL insider from ESPN. Joining us, it is Field Yates here in the zone on a Monday. Field, how are you, sir?
Jason, I'm doing great. What a big game that was yesterday, and what a critical win. I don't know that the season is ever over after just 12 weeks, but if there was ever such thing as a must-win before even Thanksgiving, I think yesterday qualified exactly that.
I had the season over with 14 minutes to play in the fourth quarter when Kareem Hunt fumbled inside the 10-yard line, and I said, you know what? This is the story of the year.
It's not the year, right?
It's going to be, last year they found different ways to make some plays late, and this year they are finding ways to not come through. And Field, I just think today would have been the conversation we've had so many times about, oh, man, interception in the end zone against the Eagles. You're about to go up by 4. You're up by 7 and a pick 6 in the end zone. Now all of a sudden it's a tie game. What happened? You've got a stumble Ruski for, the Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville after having a pass interference on an interception 2 plays before, and then you throw an interception at your own 3 on a ball that's tipped up and caught, and then you fumble at the 10. It's just not their year. And Field, I do wonder, looking at it from the bigger picture, those 23 minutes of football, the fourth quarter, and then the 8 minutes of overtime, I mean, did that, you mentioned must win. It might be simple yes or no, but nuance with it. Did that save the Chiefs season, scoring 14 points to the Colts 0?
Here's what I would say, Jason, is it kind of reminds me of the 15 minutes of the fourth quarter that the Jacksonville Jaguars blew the lead to the Houston Texans. And what it did was it gave the Texans some life for the playoffs. The Chiefs have more than life. They're still they've been in the Super Bowl 5 times in the past 6 seasons. They are still the alpha dog of the AFC until proven otherwise. Not record-wise, but still a team that I always give more benefit of the doubt to than any other in the AFC and the entire league for that matter. They have their work cut out for them, as things presently stand, and the season still has a game tonight plus 6 more weeks after it. They're 10th in the AFC playoff picture, so nothing was clinched by any means last night. But I just feel like yesterday, to your point, if it goes the other direction, we're talking about what do they need to address most this offseason, or what does this mean for the legacy of people, which is a ridiculous comment, but that's how this world works now. But it was a huge, huge, potentially season-altering win for them, and I got to imagine they're feeling a whole lot better today. They're feeling more confident, while also understanding that their schedule going the rest of the way. I kind of view it this way, and I'd imagine you'd see it similarly, is they've got 6 games left. I feel like the Chiefs' record will be at minimum 8 wins, and the question is, can they go 3-1 in the non-Titans and Raiders games during the rest of their schedule? Because if they do, that's 11 wins right there. That's a playoff victory. If they go 2-2, probably enough to get into the playoffs, but not a lock, right? I mean, there's 3 wild card spots, and you got to figure that Buffalo or New England will be one of those 2 wild card spots, and the teams in their own division plus Jacksonville are all sort of wrestling for that playoff berth. So I think you kind of have to look at this season the rest of the way is, all right, you got what you needed yesterday. Now can you handle business in at least 4 of your final 6 games?
Yeah, and, the teams that are ahead of them, they, play the Texans, so that certainly will help. The Steelers and Ravens play twice, so either – and you've got your record is tied with both of them, so you're either going to have the same record as one of them. If it's the Ravens, you've got the tiebreaker over them, or one of those teams will have 2 more losses. And the Chargers, I know that I just mentioned you played them, but I mean, the Chargers schedule, they got the Raiders this weekend, which is fine, but then they play the Eagles, they go to Kansas City, go to Dallas, play Houston, then go to Denver. to end the season. And now that Denver game at the end of the season, maybe Denver resting their starters. Who knows on that day?
It doesn't feel like the year for that this year, Jason. It feels like there's too much at stake still.
I agree.
Between the Patriots, the Broncos, and maybe Buffalo. Like by that point, I don't think anything will be decided. You're going to get a real version of the Broncos in Week 18.
Yeah, I just wonder how much the Chargers have left with all the injuries that they have. And I'm with you. I think they've got 6 wins right now. I give them Titans and Raiders. That puts them at 8. If they win on Thursday, I'm pretty confident that they're going to find themselves in the playoffs, because at that point, then can you find a way to go 2-1 against Texans, Chargers, and Broncos all at home if you win on Thursday?
Totally agree. Yep, totally agree. Yeah, the home slate going forward is very good as well, as you just noted. That Texans game is going to be really difficult, but I would hate to play that Texans defense in Houston, where you have the crowd advantage on top of the defense being, on the short list.
Yeah.
Probably Denver, Houston, or Philadelphia is the best defense in the NFL this season. And obviously, we saw what Houston's defense looked like on Thursday night against Josh Allen. Most sacks are tied for them. No, actually, the most sacks he has ever taken in a game in his career. So it's a Texas two-step coming up for the Chiefs. If they go 2-0, we're talking about this team as an absolute playoff lock. If they go 1-1, though, I still feel pretty good about their chances of making the postseason. It is. Yesterday was extremely encouraging. They're not out of the woods yet. They still got a lot of work left to do, but I don't know about life support, but close to it if they had lost yesterday.
Yeah, and they'll have the mini bye after the Cowboys game, and the Texans will be playing in Indianapolis on Sunday, so that's a huge one for Houston.
Totally.
And they play Indianapolis twice, so Houston's looking at it and going, we're 2 games behind the Colts, but if we beat them twice, I mean, we control our own destiny. We would have the tiebreaker over them. We'll see. I do wonder as well, Field, I do want to acknowledge that, we've seen this team at times and we go, okay, now they've turned it around. I do think there is at least a possibility that last 23 minutes of the game was sort of that last gasp of trying to keep the season alive, because they still got to go to Dallas on a short week. The Texans' defense is pretty legit. I'm guessing C.J. Stroud will be back by then. Chargers are a well-coached team. We'll see what happens the rest of the way. I hope that's not the case. But what do you think we learn about this team on Thursday when they head to Dallas? If they play well, not play well, whatever that might be, just a few days from now.
Yeah, I think that you can sort of throw Dallas's okay record out. I think they're a good team. They are definitely in balance, right? They're better offensively than they are defensively. Even if the defense does look better, credit where it's due. The defense has been semi-transformed by the trades and the acquisitions they have had over the past couple of weeks. Basically, they've added 4 players into their defensive lineup that weren't there previously, either because of injury or through that trade of Quinnen Williams and also Logan Wilson. But this Dallas team is legit. If they win on Thursday, it's a signal to me that not only are their playoff chances much stronger, but this is a team that's fully locked in. And as you said, there have been a couple of occasions this year where it felt like they were prepared for liftoff, and then they kind of came back down to earth, whether it was going into the Jacksonville game on Monday night, or whether it was going into the Broncos game prior to the bye. You're saying to yourself, yep, this team is ready to take that step and get back over the hump. Hasn't quite happened yet. Thursday would be a gigantic step forward, because there is a world in which the Chiefs, if they don't win on Thursday, and the Texans go to Indianapolis and upset them, I mean, how different does the game in Week 14 feel at that point, right? If the Texans are 7-5 and the Chiefs are 6-6, both teams, actually there are a few teams that feel this way, but I think the way I would categorize the Chiefs and the Texans right now in the same way is they each have everything in front of them that they could want right now. Now, you have to handle your business, because it can be a bit of a house of cards. I'm more nervous about Houston than I am Kansas City, because I think it's a better overall team than the Chiefs. That being said, both teams have a lot in front of them. Thursday, though, is going to dramatically influence how we look at that game in Week 14.
And I think, the Dallas Cowboys, for as much as, we've talked about them struggling this year and that loss to Arizona, getting blown out in Denver, the moves that they made, look, they take care of the Raiders, and, they're in disarray there. But coming back yesterday against the Eagles was humongous for them, because if I'm in Dallas, I'm going, there's only one game the rest of the way that I look at and say, going to Detroit, that's going to be tough. And obviously the Chiefs this weekend, but you get the Chiefs at home on Thanksgiving. Then you go to Detroit, and then you got Minnesota, the Chargers at home, then at Washington and at New York for the Giants. your toughest road game is Detroit. The rest of them are at home.
Yeah.
Like, you're sitting 5-5 now. What that game yesterday probably did was those guys in the locker room are looking at themselves and going, yeah, we were out of this thing sitting at 3-5. We got a potential chance to either run the table or maybe only lose one game, and it starts on Thursday. I think the Chiefs are going to face off against a pretty motivated Cowboys team and not a team that feels like they're just playing out the string, which a month ago we thought that might have been the case.
I'm sure the ESPN producers that I work with will be disappointed if the Cowboys start winning a bunch of games, Jason.
That's
We
right.
wouldn't, having Cowboys fodder would never be good right now. It actually would be. I tell you what, it is entertaining, and I find it entertaining myself. The game yesterday, well, amongst other games, was a fun one to watch, in part because they came back from a 21-point deficit, something they had never done, or I guess they had done just once before. So the Cowboys found a way to get out of that hole there early. Well, I guess at halftime. Yeah, the Cowboys are definitely playing with some confidence right now. And it is, for them, same thing here, though, is that I guess I just said that the Chiefs and the Texans remind me of each other in the sense that they have everything in front of them that they could want. They do have everything in front of them that they could want, and the Cowboys are in that same boat, I would argue. But each of these teams is also one hiccup away from finding itself in a spot where you scoreboard watch while you're playing your own game. Hey, it's great that we're winning this game, but can we get some help from X, Y, and Z teams? But Dallas, this is a talented team. Offensively, they have about as much firepower as anybody in the NFL. They have the best wide receiver duo in the league, I would argue. What I didn't think would be the case going into Week 13 is that the wide receiver you have to worry about most right now is George Pickens.
Yes.
This guy's been amazing. There's just no two ways about it. 9 catches for 149 yards yesterday. He's second in the NFL in receiving yards behind only Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is on a different level right now. He is ridiculous. But this Cowboys offense is outstanding. The offensive line, the running game is rock solid. Javonte Williams was a terrific find for Dallas this offseason in free agency. And then defensively, say whatever you want about how the season started. And the Cowboys acknowledge that whatever you said was fair game because of all the moves they've made. And a small sample size, 2 games, since they traded for Quinnen Williams, they've allowed 90 rushing yards on 30 carries. The 2 best rushers against them have been quarterbacks. Geno Smith with an 11-yard run for the Raiders, and then Jalen Hurts, who was solid yesterday with his legs, including a 7-yard touchdown. The Chiefs' offense is not one predicated around the run, but it's not going to be easy to chew up yards whether or not they have Isaiah Pacheco this upcoming weekend.
How surprised were you that I didn't know that I would ever see a game where Andy Reid would hand the ball off to a running back 35 times? 30 of those to Kareem Hunt, 5 of those to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I was surprised. I was, proud of him, if he cares. But that guy has had a refusal to run the ball, and they've ran so many of these RPOs, Field, that yesterday they just simply said, let's hand the ball off, and not with the RPOs. Let's go under center and hand the ball off. And they finally have a 100-yard rusher, and Kareem Hunt carries it 30 times in the game.
30 times.
I didn't know that Andy Reid would ever do that, and credit to him staying with the run, too, in the fourth quarter, even when they were trailing.
Yeah, by the way, it wasn't efficient either, right? Kareem Hunt, I think it was like one of his carries went for nearly 20 yards, and the rest of them went for under 3 yards a carry, right? Like it was just basically killing clock and also giving your defense a break. I mean, they did a remarkable job on Jonathan Taylor yesterday, and one of the best things they did was not let him on the field all that often, right?
Yeah.
The Colts also very curiously managed that game in the second half. Jonathan Taylor barely seeing the ball in their final 4 drives is not great. But, yes, the running game, the dedication of the running game was excellent yesterday from the Chiefs. And sometimes, even when you have the best player on the planet and you have a receiver who is going absolutely bonkers right now in Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce played, once again, meaningful football yesterday. I saw something like, whatever it was, 80-plus snaps for Kelce, which is just a gigantic number for a guy of his age. Like, it's this Chiefs team is showing that, sometimes having other ways to win can be the difference between a team salvaging its season and a team that maybe sees one go by the wayside.
Visiting with Field Yates, how long is Pete Carroll there in Vegas? It seemed like he took over and it was like, hey, let's turn this thing around quickly. And they got a really long way to go. Is he up for it at his age and now looking for a new OC?
it's hard to do these things in Week 13, but let's just call it what it is, Jason. Common sense says this one, probably is. We have reached the point where at the end of the season, at the very least, the Raiders are going to have to acknowledge one way or another whether Pete Carroll is staying, right? Like, it's not like the Chiefs, whether they win the Super Bowl or don't make the playoffs, there's no announcement from Clark Hunt the day after the season's over saying Andy Reid is coming back, obviously, right? There are coaches that don't fit into that category. Pete Carroll's reached that category where if they aren't going to make a change, that is news. It's news either way. But, this is all kind of following the playbook. You fire a special teams coordinator. You file an OC who, by the way, was making $6 million a year in Chip Kelly. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Mark Davis. The guy is willing to pay as much as is needed to get the right people in place. Now, it's not always hasn't worked, obviously, but he's been firing coaches for years now with multiple seasons left on their contract, and here we are with a $6 million per year OC who is now your former OC. So that one does have my radar up as a potential, if not likely, change this offseason.
All right, last one. What do you think happens on Thursday, and do you have a prediction or a feeling on what could take place?
I think they win. I just think I've reached after yesterday, and I didn't think they would win 23-20 in overtime. I thought they would win, but it's gonna be tough. This Dallas team is going to be very, very motivated after their big win yesterday. But I think the Chiefs find a way to grind it out there. I do. I think they find a way to man up when it matters the most in the fourth quarter. So give me KC in a very, very tight one and perhaps slightly lower scoring game. I do think this Chiefs offense will have its hands full with that Dallas defense. But more importantly, this Dallas defense will have this Dallas offense will have a much harder time moving the ball against Kansas City.
Field, you are the man. Appreciated. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, sir, and we will talk next Monday.
And right back to you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. There's Field Yates. Great stuff from him, as always. The Chiefs get the victory yesterday. They get ready for the Dallas Cowboys, who got new life themselves yesterday. I think both Dallas and Kansas City, trailing in those games by double digits, had their seasons on the line and pretty much over if they lost that game. Dallas wins. They're sitting at 5-5-1. 5-5-1 with that tie against Green Bay. But they got the Chiefs at home on Thursday, Thanksgiving, short week. They head to Detroit, tough one. And then they finish their last four games, home to Minnesota, home to the Chargers, at the Commanders, at the Giants. They could rattle off four straight at the end of the season. And if they beat the Chiefs on Thursday and lose to Detroit, you're talking about going 5-1 the rest of the way. That puts them at 10-6-1. I mean, they'd have a better record than somebody that's 10-7. So maybe they look at it and go, I mean, the Chiefs and Cowboys both, I think you can make a case that their fan bases are saying, you win this game, I feel pretty good about you making the playoffs. Oddly enough, with the Cowboys, where they were just a month ago when they were sitting 3-5. Actually, they were sitting 3-2-1. No, 3-3-1 after that loss to the Panthers. That was 2-3-1 is what it was, because they hadn't beaten the Commanders yet. So they were sitting 2-3-1 with a loss to Carolina. Carolina's looking better, but at the time it was like, oh my God, what a disaster. And, then they beat Washington, lose to Denver, lose to Arizona. We'll see, though. Crazy comeback against the Eagles. Maybe that's masking who the Dallas Cowboys really are. Great comeback against the Colts. Maybe that's masking who the Chiefs, really are. We'll find out a lot about those two teams on Thursday. We'll take a time out. More Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour. Thank you to Field Yates joining us, NFL insider from ESPN. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs post-game yesterday in the locker room at the podium, what the Chiefs had to say after that massive win. Great comeback, salvaging what is the rest of the season for now. Short turnaround for the Chiefs. We heard earlier today Ian Rappaport saying that Trey Smith with a high ankle sprain and a low ankle sprain is going to miss some time starting on Thursday with the Cowboys game. Not sure how much or how many more games he would miss, or if IR is a possibility. If IR is a possibility, it would happen before Thursday, before that particular game. More Zone next. Till 2 o'clock. Coming up at 1 o'clock on ESPN Kansas City, KU pregame starting as they take on Notre Dame today out in Vegas. That tip at 2:30 right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB starting at 2 o'clock. We will join the KU pregame show. 1 o'clock we will continue right here in the zone, but at 1 o'clock over on ESPN Kansas City, the KU pregame show will be starting. 913-912-4810. Text says, I think the Cowboys come flat the way the Bills did after beating the Chiefs. That'd be nice. A big game against the Eagles for the Cowboys. Turning around and laying an egg. We'll see. Maybe the Chiefs do the same thing, though, on Thursday in Dallas. Who knows? Text says, only way for the Chiefs to beat the Colts was to limit the offensive possessions of the Colts. Go Cowboys. I mean, I'm not a time of possession guy. Chiefs trailed a lot of that game, and time of possession was amazing for them because they kept kicking field goals. And the Chiefs are now the only team to hold the Indianapolis Colts in a goal-to-go situation to a field goal. It did not happen this year. They had every time a goal-to-go situation, they had scored a touchdown. Until Sunday, they held them to a field goal, which was massive because the Chiefs needed every single point the defense could limit in that game to get to 20 for them to eventually win the game in overtime.
I know it's ultimately not something that we should overthink too much, but I find the narrative that, now we know how to beat the Colts is a little foolish. We always knew if you stopped Jonathan Taylor, you were going to beat the Colts. And so, I guess we learned definitively that Daniel Jones, when under pressure, isn't all that great, but I feel like the book has been out on that since Daniel Jones signed there.
Yeah, and it's a matter of can you limit Jonathan Taylor. And I'll say for Steve Spagnuolo, it didn't work in Buffalo against James Cook because he had himself a day and got over 100 yards rushing. But I feel like every time we talk about a legit running back or a running game and the Chiefs getting ready to play them, just feels like the Chiefs limit that running back. Each and every time. It's what they have had a history of doing. And in this game, I assumed the Chiefs would do everything they could to limit Jonathan Taylor and say, Daniel Jones has to beat us. And at times, he was doing that. He was completing passes. It was a huge third down pickup that he had. That was the second to last first down they picked up in the game, was that Daniel Jones run on third down. The last first down they had was the screen pass to Tyler Warren. It's the last time they picked up a first down. That was in the third quarter. And they didn't pick up another first down after that. Now, some of that is, I know that people have talked about the Colts not going to Jonathan Taylor. But I think there's a little bit of revisionist history on that point with Jonathan Taylor. And the reason I say that is Kareem Hunt fumbled the football. They've got the ball at their own 6-yard line, up by 11. They hand it off to Taylor, who loses 2 yards. The first play of that possession, you hand off, he loses 2 yards. Now you're sitting at 2nd and 12. So they drop back to try to throw something short to get an easier third down. It's incomplete. Now you're sitting 3rd and 12. Don't turn the ball over. And it's an incomplete pass, and they punt. The second drive, people are like, how in the second and third drives do you not give the ball to Jonathan Taylor? Well, the second drive, they start out. What happened the previous drive? On first down, the Chiefs sold out for the run, and they lost 2 yards. So what are the Colts thinking? Second down or a second drive, first down? Those guys? They're coming after Jonathan Taylor. Play action. Throwing to Michael Pittman, who was open, catches the ball. Brian Cook comes in and punches it out. Knocks away the play. That was at least 7 yards. Then you give the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and your drive is rolling at that point. But I understood why the play action was there, because the previous drive, the Chiefs sold out for the run, and you lost 2 yards. Don't do the same thing over again. They're thinking run. Let's play action and draw everybody up, and let's hit something either over the top, or we'll have Michael Pittman over there for a quick 7-8 yard gain. 6-7 yard gain.
Well, and Daniel Jones put that ball right on the money to Michael Pittman, and Brian Cook just made one of the plays of the game.
Absolutely. It was an awesome play. And Pittman did not know. I don't think Pittman knew that Brian Cook was going to be there that quickly, because Pittman caught the ball, and he wasn't really putting it away. Like, you catch the ball and put it away when you know you're going to get hit. But good on Brian Cook for being there, reading that, and having, I was critical of Brian Cook last week. I thought Brian Cook played a phenomenal game. I thought Brian Cook was a big reason why those 4 possessions resulted in 3 and outs. So that happens on first down of the second possession. They run play action. So 2nd and 10, what's Spags going to do? Oh, he's going to blitz the hell out of Daniel Jones. So the Colts, screen pass to Jonathan Taylor. It's wide open. The Chiefs blitzed. They blitzed from that side that they had a screen pass set up. Now, if you pause the game when Jonathan Taylor catches the ball, it's green grass. And at that point, I'm like, oh, my God, don't be a 20-yard gain. It's Jonathan Taylor in the open field. As he starts to run, number 60 goes to block Brian Cook, who takes on the block, sheds it, keeps the outside contained. He and Nick Bolton are able to wrap up and keep it to a 7-yard gain. That could have easily been 10 to 15 yards. If Brian Cook is just taken out by the blocker, Nick Bolton isn't also there to help Jonathan Taylor cutting back inside. It might, I don't know. I got to watch the all 22. It wasn't out this morning. That might be a touchdown. I'm not sure. So the Brian Cook play on 2nd down. So what you had was you had a play action on 1st down because they're going to bring a run blitz. 2nd and 10, they're going to blitz. Let's throw a screen pass. Those aren't terrible ideas. This isn't they forgot how to coach offense and Jonathan Taylor apparently isn't on that team anymore. They had an open Pittman that Brian Cook made a play. They had a wide open space for Jonathan Taylor to run when the Chiefs blitzed, and they knew it, and they countered it with a great play, and the Chiefs players made a better play, individual plays that created, team success. And then on 3rd down, it was incomplete.
And Jason, what have we been talking about for the last 2 months? The Chiefs just need to make a play. Your players have to do it. And yesterday, it was Brian Cook, it was Chris Jones, it was Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Kareem Hunt answered the bell, but your guys were better in key moments. I know you can get into the X's and O's and the schemes. The Colts had a good scheme. They had a good plan, but the Chiefs players just made the better plays.
Yeah. If I had a beef with the Colts, if I was sitting there analyzing the Colts and saying that they forgot that Jonathan Taylor existed, the 3rd drive is the one that stands out to me. I was convinced that to start the 3rd drive, and that was at the 49-yard line, the Colts got the ball at midfield, up 20-17. The Chiefs just went 3 and out. You go and put a field goal on the board, they got to go and score a touchdown. You score a touchdown, game's over. Thought, here you go, this is going to be to Jonathan Taylor. Instead, it was just a shotgun, no play action. Daniel Jones just took the snap and dropped back. There was no play action. Linebackers read it easily and could fade back. There was no linebacker coming up to the line of scrimmage. They were fading back, which is why, by the way, Nick Bolton was there to almost intercept it with Shamari Connor. That was the 1st down play at midfield. That 3rd drive is the one that I would have real issues with, because now it's 2nd and 10. And on 2nd and 10, what Spags going to do? He's blitzing. But you know what I just did the previous possession? I ran the screen pass knowing on 2nd and 10 he was going to blitz. So he's going to blitz while keeping an eye on both Warren and Jonathan Taylor on a blitz. So Daniel Jones drops back, sees the blitz, immediately throws it out to Warren, who the Chiefs were paying close attention to. Christian Roland Wallace was right there because Warren wasn't going to get a screen pass. Jonathan Taylor wasn't going to get a screen pass. They blitzed. Daniel Jones threw it. It's incomplete because Christian Roland Wallace was right there in my mind because, again, they've ran screens to Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren. Those things are not happening on 2nd and 10. 3rd and 10, blitz again, throws a little underneath pass to Michael Pittman. Jaden Hicks comes up, makes the tackle. 4th and 4, try to draw him off sides, delay a game, punt. Chiefs go down, kick a field goal. And in overtime, the first play, in overtime, play action, pass to Ogletree in the flat. There's a blocker in front of him and only one chief over there. Who's that chief? Brian Cook, who takes on the Pittman block, sheds it, and goes and tackles Ogletree for a 4-yard gain. If Pittman blocks him, Ogletree picks up 8-9 yards, maybe a first down. And then you give it to Jonathan Taylor again. Those were drive starters that were easy plays that Brian Cook both times broke up and ended those quick play-action drive starters on the second drive and the fourth drive of those final 4 drives that the Chiefs held him to 3 and out. And then second down, they threw the pass to Jonathan Taylor for, Jonathan Taylor picked up 5 yards because Ogletree got 4. Jonathan Taylor got 5. He broke the Jaden Hicks tackle and then kept running. Watson and somebody else tackled him 1 yard short. 3rd and 1. They gave it to Jonathan Taylor again. So they had 2nd and 4 and 3rd and 1, and they gave it to Jonathan Taylor twice. And he didn't pick up the first down. He got a total of 3 yards, and they had to punt. So I don't think there was this massive, oh, my God, he forgot how to coach and he forgot Jonathan Taylor's in the backfield. The drive, I think, was the issue, was the 3rd drive. You started at midfield, and on first down, you didn't even offer a play action. And it should have been picked off. It was a terrible throw by Daniel Jones. The other ones, I understood some of the play calls that were there.
Well, I was just going to say that who wanted it more? Who was the more desperate team on Sunday?
I think in the fourth quarter, down 20-9, there was a pretty damn desperate team that was trying to save their season, and I think the Colts, to a degree, were trying not to lose.
I feel very similar, and I think against Denver, the Chiefs were the team that were trying to win the division, but it didn't feel like, okay, our season's on the line. I think that fourth quarter, after that Kareem Hunt fumble, there was kind of a kumbaya moment where they're like, hey, if we don't get this figured out, our season ends at Arrowhead.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If we don't beat the pace car, our race is over, is what Cole Trickle would have said at that particular moment. Let's hear from Andy Reid. After the game was over yesterday, he offered his opening statement and pretty much got into everything here. I'm not sure you needed a Q&A after this, but here's Andy Reid in his opening statement about what happened in that game, what he saw, and the Chiefs getting the victory.
All right. Great effort. Appreciate the fans. They were phenomenal this afternoon. Loud, which was important, especially down the stretch there. And there was still some blue up there, and they just rounded them out, which was great. As far as the injuries go, Trey Smith hurt his ankle. Caliendo came in and did a nice job for him, but we'll see how it is as days go forward. Roland Wallace hurt his lower back. Again, we'll just see how it goes this week. And then Noah got hit in the head, and so he'll go through evaluations there. So we'll see how that goes. I thought both offense and defense did a great job. Special teams came through when we needed them, and we had a few penalties there that we got to clean up. Likewise, on the offensive side, we had some penalties there that we got to take care of. Again, in crucial situations. But one positive on that was the guys kept going, kept punching, and we were able to kind of smooth it out a little bit and get rid of some of the mistakes, and did a great job there. I thought Spags had a nice plan defensively against one of the best offenses in the National Football League, one of the top offenses, and then Nags had a phenomenal plan. Both of them did a great job calling the plays and knocking that out. It was tremendous. So, and then individual efforts. I mean, Kareem was dusted off and got over 100 yards, which is incredible. I'm proud of him for that. Rice, over 100 yards, 141 yards. 2-point conversion was huge there. Kels had a big day with some big catches there. And then Pat was on fire for a 300-yard game. So Xavier, likewise, played his tail off out there. He had a little bit of a sore ankle, and he just battled through it. Did a nice job. And then defensively, the yardage, when you start looking at the yardage here and the time of possession, they didn't have the ball much. And because the defense was getting the guys off the field and onward. So I was proud of that. Tranquil had a couple of nice stops there, one in overtime in particular. anyway, all the 2 for 4 in the red zone. I mean, it goes on and on. 5 or 12 for third downs, and then Bucker ended it. He had 5 field goals today, and then a big one there at the end. We tried to. We were able to get it in there, not because of him. And we were confident that he can kick it out further, but we were kind of dual rolling it, using up some time in case something were to happen. We wouldn't give that much time there, and then finish the game off with the win.
I thought that was interesting there at the end because when the Chiefs got into position, and I thought they were just going to have Mahomes move it to the middle of the field and take a knee. Instead, they came out and gave it to Kareem Hunt a couple more times. And I thought, okay, you know what? You're running the ball. Kareem Hunt is not a fumbler. He's not going to fumble again. Nothing disastrous is going to happen. But the concern I had is a holding call. And at that point, you have to emphasize to the offensive line, no matter what, you can't hold. It can be a 2 or 3 yard loss. It doesn't matter. No penalties, no false starts, no holding. We are going to run a couple more plays to run this clock down in case something crazy happens. So it makes more sense hearing that from Andy Reid. I thought maybe they just wanted to, you know what, they're not stopping the run, so let's just run it a couple more times, make it an even easier field goal attempt and a chip shot and get out of here. But now to hear, look, if something crazy happens, it's better to have a tie than a loss. So let's run some more clock down. And if it's, something crazy happens on the field goal, then we at least have a chance to keep them from going and scoring with less time on the clock. But that didn't matter. They took care of business. They got the win. And Harrison Butker put it through for the winning field goal. And by the way, after the game, saying he had to get his heart rate down. His heart rate was really, every kick is different or big, but his heart was really racing in that moment, and he couldn't really, just had to focus just to calm down, get his heart rate down. He hadn't been in that position much this year, but he's been in that position a lot in his career. And then said, the timeout by the Colts, he doesn't like being out there because you're just sort of standing there by yourself or standing there doing nothing. But he said maybe it helped him focus and get his heart rate down and calm a little bit more just to kick the ball through the uprights. And he did. Ball game, get out of there and rest up. Put Kareem Hunt in the cryogenic chamber and the cold tub and whatever else you need to put him in. And hopefully his body is not one big bruise for Thursday's game against the Cowboys, because they did such a good job running the football, and Kareem Hunt was an absolute beast in this game. If Pacheco returns, that'll certainly take some of the pressure off of him. Clyde got some carries in the game. I'm not saying you give the ball to Clyde instead of Kareem Hunt, but maybe they go back a little bit to the previous role where early downs, it's Pacheco getting some of those runs, and then Kareem Hunt later on. And if he's more the 7 to 10 carry guy in the game as opposed to 30, the most carries in his entire career happened on Sunday, and he's got 3 days to rest before he's got to go play another huge game Thursday on the road for Thanksgiving against the Cowboys.
Kareem is definitely going to be sore this morning. I would not want to get out of bed, but, you mentioned it. I think that the Chiefs have the luxury with Pacheco hopefully coming back here in the next couple weeks. You just signed Dameon Pierce. You can kind of split up those carries and find a way to have Hunt go back to his normal role of 10 to 12 carries, because as good as Hunt was yesterday, I worry that if you stretch him out like that and you keep giving him such a big workload, he's not going to be as efficient on 3rd and 4th down, and that's when we need him to be great. And so I think the Chiefs are smart, but in a gotta-have-it game, they were going to rely on him.
Absolutely. And I will say I was really surprised that Andy Reid stayed with the run that much. And maybe the most surprising call of the entire game. The entire game, shocked, I tell you, that in overtime, 2nd down and 10, he handed the ball off. Who are you, Andy? 2nd down and 10? They picked up they gave it to Hunt for 7 yards, and then Kareem picked up 3, but it was reviewed, and they brought it back, and he needed an inch and a half. He picked that up for 2 yards. First down, Mahomes missed Travis Kelce, who was wide open down the left. Just overthrew him, and the ball fluttered out of his hands. In my mind, I'm already picturing that play, what would have happened. If Kelce catches that ball, there's one guy over there, it's Sauce, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Kelce catches the ball, Sauce goes to tackle him, and he laterals it to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's all alone, because Clyde is running up the sideline. He's about 10 yards behind Kelce. If Kelce catches that, turning around, catching it, Sauce is going to run and hit him. Kelce knows there's nobody on that side of the field, and Clyde is there, nobody around him. He would have absolutely tossed that thing to Clyde once Sauce got there, and then Clyde catches it and runs down the sideline and gets into field goal range. And like, oh my God, Clyde with that play, and Kelce did it again. But he overthrew him, and it brought up 2nd down and 10. And Andy Reid, this freaking guy, gave the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire on 2nd and 10, handed the ball off. Like, that's not Andy Reid. He passes that ball every time. It wasn't even like an RPO. It was just handing the ball off. It's like, no, we're just going to hand the ball off here. We are not going to stop with what our game plan was, even in this situation. And that brought up 3rd down and 7. And that's when Mahomes found Xavier Worthy for 31 yards. And I'm telling you, if Mahomes didn't find Xavier Worthy for 31 yards, oh my God, Kareem Hunt was so wide open to the right. They were running man-to-man down the field. There were 7 guys going after Patrick Mahomes. Like Lou Anarumo said, bleep this, we are bringing the house after Mahomes. You had Tanyan, Kelce, Tyquan, and Worthy out there in routes. And 5 players. 4 guys playing man-to-man and a single high safety over the top. That single high safety was the one that eventually came over with Xavier Worthy after Charvarius Ward, was beat. But if you watch just the game broadcast, as Mahomes is stepping up in the pocket, Kareem Hunt is to the right, and there's nobody in this. Like, Travis Kelce's running down the field with a man chasing him. So that guy has his back to the field. Tyquan Thornton is at the 50 running down the field. That guy has his back to him, and Kareem's the only one there. Thank God Xavier Worthy caught the ball and Mahomes put it where he did, and it wasn't an incomplete pass, because then they're punting at their own 24, and we might be talking about something happening, I don't know, a 23-20 win for the Colts, and going, if Mahomes just dumps the ball off to Kareem Hunt, he picks up like 50 yards and they win the game. Oh, my God. It's just the story of the year, story of the season. Instead, throws a great ball on the run, right leg up in the air, firing that thing, 25 yards down the field, hitting Xavier Worthy. Worthy catches it, holds on to it, and, then a 4th down throw to Rashee Rice is completed, and they go and
what a catch, by the way. I mean,
well, I got the 4th down was the last drive. Sorry about that. The 4th down was the last drive when they were down 20-7. But yes, the Rashee Rice one, because they didn't face another 3rd down after that 31-yard pass to Xavier Worthy. It was 1st down, 2nd down, 1st down, 2nd down, 1st down, 2nd down, field goal. So, well, the field goal was on 2nd down. So, but that Rashee Rice catch was fantastic on 4th and 3. Although he might have been throwing it to Kelce. So the ball was fluttering. Kelce was coming back to the football. He was open too. So he might have been throwing it to Kelce. But it doesn't matter. It was complete. But yeah, I could not believe they handed the ball off to Clyde Edwards-Helaire on 2nd down and 10.
An old dog maybe did learn a new trick.
I mean, that is as disciplined as we've seen maybe Andy Reid. And I was fine with it, because I'm like, okay, they picked up 3 yards, makes it an easier 3rd down and 7, could have been 3rd down and 10, could have been less, could have been a 1st down, who knows, but they wanted to make a point to stay with that, and I'm glad that they did. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Trent McDuffie, all talking after the game. We continue rolling along. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you are suffering from erectile dysfunction, there is no reason to wait around. Heartland Men's Health can help. You know, we're coming up on the holidays, the holiday season for families and friends and significant others, and the last thing you want to do is add even more stress to that time. Go ahead and get things figured out right now. You know, some men wait months, even years, before they try to figure out what is going on. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbals, and they either didn't work or maybe they've stopped working. Well, if that happens, Heartland Men's Health has treatments that work when that takes place. In fact, they have treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's $99. That includes the medical consult with that licensed medical provider. You get the T and PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. If it does, there you go. They've got an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I was talking in the previous segment, we were talking about the run game and how the Chiefs just seem to come through in situations like that when there's a bigger running back in terms of ability. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor not in stature, but an MVP candidate. When a team is really good at running the football and they've got a guy that it's like, man, you need to slow him down or you're going to get killed. They are pretty good at doing that. Let's play Chris Jones here. Clip number 11. This was funny. This was on the 3rd and 1 play that resulted in a 27-yard run for Jonathan Taylor. That was his big run of the game. 27 yards. It was 3rd down and 1. Leo Chanel got clearly held and a bear hug, and he couldn't get outside. The hole opened up because Leo Chanel was clearly held. Don't tell Colts fans that. But Jonathan Taylor broke through. Chris Jones talks about that and adjustments, but kind of a funny clip here from Chris Jones on that play.
With that play, it was 3rd and short, and the quarterback was on the center. And we play sneak defense, as in quarterback sneak. So everyone was crunching in, and he was able to break away from the outside because he ran into the right and bounced it. So, and there's holes in every defense that you run, He was able to find a hole and he was able to break free. But we was playing sneak. We was thinking the quarterback sneak, so everyone was crushed in.
But did you learn something from the help you on the overtime?
We didn't play sneak again. I mean, I guess we learned something. That speaks for itself.
Yeah, because 3rd and 1 in overtime, they got the 2-yard stop. Or the 2-yard loss. They got the stop on 3rd and 1, lost 2 yards. So did you learn anything that 3rd and 1 earlier in the game? Yeah, they were under center. We were running sneak. Did you learn anything from that? Yeah, we didn't run sneak again on 3rd and 1. And Chris Jones played it a certain way to open up that hole for Drew Tranquil that was on the run blitz. And both of those guys coming through. Chris Jones had a monster game yesterday. Had to have it. There was a lot of guys that had monster games yesterday. Just fantastic work from Chris Jones. Let's play this clip. Let's go through and hear from Patrick Mahomes. This is let's start with clip number 2. And Mahomes talks about this team and when they were sitting there behind in the 4th quarter.
Kind of an urgency thing. I mean, obviously you want to be urgent, but it was do or die type thing where you had to make something happen, and guys made plays happen throughout the entire team. It wasn't one person. It was everybody. Everybody made plays in the biggest moments, and we found a way to win.
Patrick Mahomes had himself a up and down game, I felt, at times. I don't think he played particularly well against the Bills. Don't think he played particularly well against the Broncos. I think at times he struggled in this one with how long he should stay in the pocket versus let me get out and run. It's 3rd and like 5 or 6. There was one time, and I'm thinking to myself, Mahomes is going to try to run this just to pick it up, just to get it new set of downs. And he got to his back foot, and he immediately looked at the line of scrimmage and looked at the offensive line, and he ended up getting tackled at the line of scrimmage or something like that. I was like, that's what I just thought was going to happen. I'm not sure where he was going or why he was leaving that pocket. There was a 3-man rush that there was nobody there, and he left that pocket. And it was like, what's going on? But then at times, he sat there, let the play develop. That Rashee Rice throw was brilliant. I mean, that's one of the best throws he's had. Sat there in the pocket, rhythm, threw a freaking dart, hit him in the 4, and Rashee Rice doesn't have to slow down, and if he slows down, he gets tackled from behind. He hits him in stride so Rice can just continue running up the field and pick up that 47 yards when they were sitting at their own 3-yard line, a game-changing play. And, in fact, I looked up the win probability there. The Chiefs, before that pass, on 2nd and 13 at their own 3, had a 28.9% chance of winning. When Rashee Rice got tackled, they had a 50.8% chance of winning. 21.9% increase on that play alone for the Chiefs. 2nd and 13 at their own 3 to 1st and 10 at midfield. Here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in when asked about how he thought he played in the game and those particular throws to Rashee Rice and then Xavier Worthy.
The one in overtime, I thought I did a good job just going through my reads and not just being the quarterback that I need to be for that moment, not trying to do too much. And a couple of those throws, the one to Xavier, not my necessarily first read, but just sitting in the pocket, making the throw. The one to Rashee, kind of similar thing where it wasn't necessarily clean, but just gave a guy a chance to make a play happen. And I got to be that guy in order for us to win, and I thought I did a better job of that today.
He did. As the game went on, I thought he got more patient. I know Tony Romo was talking about that he's going through his reads too quick, and maybe that was the case. I just think that at times Mahomes gets into a mode of, I don't know if other guys are going to make the play for me, so I'll do it. And I think at times he did get into that mode yesterday. But when they had to have it, it felt like Mahomes then said, let me get into playoff Patrick. Playoff Patrick doesn't panic. Unfortunately, Super Bowl against the Eagles, Patrick was
didn't have to go there,
running for his life there, and there wasn't much he could do besides just, can I get the hell out of here and try to find something? That was unfortunate. Rashee Rice had a huge day. 12 targets, 8 catches, 141 yards. Had that huge 47-yard catch. I do like on people don't just a random thought that popped into my head. One of the tweets that I saw, somebody was talking about Rashee Rice having a huge day with the 8 catches, and some Colts fan was like, yeah, 20 targets. He got 12, but whatever. It's just so stupid, man. Like, go take a nap. Here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in on Rashee Rice's huge day, and especially huge second half.
It's a guy who stepped up and made plays happen, you know. He's got the mentality of he wants to be great, and he wants to be that guy in that moment. And whenever they had a lot of attention on Travis, obviously, and to have another guy step up and make plays, Rashee kind of in that fourth quarter and in overtime, and then Xavier as well, you got to have that. And in order for us to get to where we want to be at.
How important is Rashee to everything you guys want to do schematically?
He's able to catch the ball and make yards after catch. I mean, all of these play calls that he caught, they weren't necessarily he was the first read. We call shots down the field, and they wanted to take the shots away down the field, and you can hit him at 18, 20 yards, and all of a sudden that's 40 yards, that's 30 yards, and then you can hit him on a shallow cross, and he gets the big first down, and gets 10, 15 yards. And so he does a lot, you know. He can beat you on the field, but he also can beat you intermediate, and he's going to continue to get better and better as we continue to get more and more reps this season.
One of the things that that was a huge difference in the first half and the second half of this game. You know, I hate when the Chiefs go up against Lou Anarumo. He always seems to have something for the Chiefs. And again, the Chiefs were held to 23 points in this game. So, you know, Lou Anarumo was, you know, had his team pretty prepared. But the second half versus the first half, there's a number 13-1. 13-1. Those are the pass attempts that were 10 or more air yards in the game. In the first half, the Chiefs had one pass attempt that was 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. One. Not completion, one attempt 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. They had 13 in the second half. I mean, whether that was Lou Anarumo making an adjustment that he shouldn't have made, or that was the Chiefs making an adjustment, or Patrick Mahomes getting more comfortable, whatever it was, the Chiefs found ways to then move the football and not feel like it was a neutered offense of just let me throw it here, let me throw a quick pass here, RPO here. It was, no, let me get those intermediate routes that Soren's been talking about the last couple of weeks. Why are there not as many routes of 10 to 15 yards down the field? Why does it feel like it's screens and deep shots all the time? How about a 10 to 15-yard play? Well, that crosser to Rashee Rice needed 13 yards. You didn't have to, you didn't have to throw it 40 yards down the field. You have a crosser against man. He wins. You sit in the pocket. You get on time. You fire the football. You complete it in stride and let him run. It's what we've seen from this offense so often, and Patrick Mahomes. I think that play was big, not only just for what it did for the game, but I think also from the just trust it, man. Just trust it. The offensive line is good. They're holding up for you. Trust it. And hopefully somebody can get open and make a play. And Rashee Rice did that a number of times. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We'll hear from Trent McDuffie had something interesting talking about guys on the defense, what they were doing, and Patrick Mahomes weighing in on what that fourth quarter was like. The energy, what was happening during that fourth quarter when a lot of people felt like the season was lost because that game was lost down 20-9 after a Kareem Hunt fumble. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. You know, it's the 3 T's of Thanksgiving. Turkey for eating, table for gathering, and, of course, touchdowns for winning. And with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown can get you closer to cashing in. And with DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action, it's in your hands. First touchdown scores, anytime touchdown scores, live bets, live touchdown scores, next touchdown scores. Those are fun. And coming up on Thursday, Thanksgiving, we got all day to sit around and watch and play and have some fun and eat some food and sit at the table and gathering and break some bread and some fellowship and family and friends and football and touchdowns with DraftKings. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, we'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. KSHB 41 Sports Director. Learn Funniest Best coming up with Mick Schaefer about 1:25, 1:30 or so. Patrick Mahomes was asked after the game was over, and he weighed in on the energy in the fourth quarter. You know, we talked about it in the first hour about that Chris Jones, after the Kareem Hunt fumble, they come back from commercial break, and you see Chris Jones sort of walking around trying to pump up the crowd, not knowing that in the commercial break, Chris Jones was going from, like, sideline to sideline and, like, you know, hype man, Hulk Hogan from one end of the ring to the other, getting the crowd pumped, and the Chiefs' defense responded, and they come out there and they end up winning the game. Here's Patrick Mahomes weighing in on that, the energy in the fourth quarter and having that mindset to still stay in it and come back and win.
I mean, obviously the energy is not good, but I thought it was really cool to not only see our defense stand tall in that moment. That was a huge drive, and then to stand tall and just kind of take it upon themselves to say, we got to get a stop right now. And then there was like a feeling that you had in Arrowhead. You could see the fans kind of were behind us. Like they didn't kind of hang their heads because there was a fumble. They said that we're going to be with y'all through the end, through this all. And I thought that was really cool. And you could kind of feel that momentum kind of swing in our favor, even after a bad play for us. So I'm glad that happened here because I thought that really did change the outcome of the game.
The 3 and out there, and just the way they did them, it was almost a safety in that moment. Are you guys able to feed off that?
Yeah, 100%. And you could feel the energy. I'm telling you, you could feel the energy of the defense, the stadium, and it was kind of, we're not going to lose this game. We're gonna find a way to win, even though everything hasn't gone our way to this moment. We're gonna find a way to get a stop here, get y'all the ball, give y'all another chance, and we were able to make it work. You know, and then even going into the fourth quarter, I mean, obviously you want to end with a touchdown. They got a stop, big stop. Defense gets out there immediately, gets a stop for us, and gives us another chance to go down the field. So it was a true team effort, you know. It was a special moment, and I'm glad that we were able to win that game. And now we're going to have to build on that through the rest of the season.
Yeah, those last 4 drives of each team, the Chiefs and the Colts. Colts had 12 plays, 13 yards. Chiefs had 37 plays, 225 yards, and 14 points. 25 more plays, 212 more yards, and 14 more points. That defense, what they did, here's Trent McDuffie in the locker room talking about guys, you know, stepping up and making plays.
My biggest thing was when we're setting pressures, you know, it's a lot on the DBs. And, I mean, you talk about J.Y., you talk about B. Cook, Jaden made play, Chamari, like, guys on the back end were making plays. And I think the past few weeks I've talked about, you know, we're right there. We just haven't made it. And today is one of them days. So I think we got to just continue to move forward and just keep that confidence while we're out there.
You know, this is the first win in a one-score game this year. What's it mean to finally get that monkey off your back and win a close game?
Oh, man, I mean, it don't really matter about close games or what. We just happy we got to win. I mean, I never lost faith in this group. You know what I mean? No matter what the score was, when we lost, when we won, the guys have bought in, and it's always been like that since I've been here. So the culture that has been built here the past 4 years that I've been here is the reason why we continue to go out there and win.
Look, we make the point the season was saved in those 23 minutes of football. And it was, for now. But to save the season, you have to then go out and continue to win the game. They found a way to win a game when they had shot themselves in the foot many a time. They hadn't done that this year. They've either blown a team out or lost a close game where you go, how did they not make that play or that play or that play? Maybe outside of the Bills game. But even then, you're like, oh, this... But 3 of those 5 losses, you're like, man, those things could have been wins. They haven't done that. And this was barreling towards that as well. Until it wasn't. So the season being saved, 6-5 instead of 5-6, massive difference. Now go out and prove it. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy. Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us. He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. If you need a little post-feast fun, Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk open at 4 o'clock on Thanksgiving. So you can gather the family, escape to the ultimate indoor adventure. They got ice skating, bowling, laser tag, games for everyone. 4 o'clock, Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. It opens up for some fun, some family, some football. The TV's there, too. You can watch the Chiefs game.
It's a great idea. We have everybody back. So we have 2 college kids back.
Oh, nice.
And do your kids have school? Our kids don't.
Not this week,
The one in middle school and my wife, who's a elementary school teacher, the last 2 years, they haven't had school the entire week of Thanksgiving. I'm like, wait a second. I thought you guys got out at like noon on Wednesday.
No, see, it's past 2004. So now everybody, all the school, they get. In fact, I'm surprised they didn't get 2
years
weeks.
ago they were sick.
Are your kids off? Does the day end in Y? Then odds are yes, they're probably off or something. It's National Hot Dog Day.
Great.
They're going to go ahead and have a half day and have hot dogs in the second half.
For at least half of my high school existence, they're like, we don't need to do a spring break. So we had no spring break.
No.
And there was fall break wasn't even a word. Wasn't even a phrase.
I couldn't believe when I got to college. I'm like, hold on, we get a spring break? Yeah. Like it's not just January through the end of May. It's just nothing.
Your last finals on like May 2nd.
That was nice. I'm like, this is a spring. They give a spring break off. Like why?
It's a perk for paying all that money for college.
It's true. Yes. So you pay all that money and then you don't have to go to school those couple of weeks.
But yeah, so I'm working all week. Thanks, Chiefs. And the other 4 of my family are just sitting on couches under blankets and doing stuff. And I even said, I looked at my schedule. I'm like, hey, guys, I was thinking about a movie this week. Tonight might be our best chance. She's like, oh, yeah, we were thought about that. We're going tomorrow afternoon. I'm like, what about me? Oh, yeah, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, good on you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
That you guys are going tomorrow afternoon.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. We're not going to. Oh, actually, we are seeing the movie you want to see.
She's like, you said,
so excited.
You said you were thinking about a movie this week. I'm like, yeah, but I was included.
I know you said you were thinking about a movie this week, so we are going to one.
For you four.
That might be my funniest from the weekend.
God dang.
You said you were thinking about a movie. Yes. It was a great idea.
Yes.
So we decided to go to one.
Oh,
just without you.
It's fine. There's no chance. Even I take a bullet. I'll watch whatever just to see if there's never a movie though that everybody wants to see. So
no, there's not.
They can go do their own thing and whatever.
That's why you watch a movie at Cheesecake Factory. There's something for everybody.
That's it.
There's a movie for everybody there. Probably. I'm not sure. Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us again. He's presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Mick, you asked me this question last night along with BJ Kissel and Nate Taylor. Did those 23 minutes save the Chiefs season? And coming back, the 15 minutes in the fourth quarter, 8 minutes in overtime, was that a season-saving 23 minutes of football?
That was, say, to stay with like a football analogy, that was kicking a field goal to make it a 14-point game with like a quarter left, right? You're still in it, right? You're going to get a couple more possessions.
Yeah.
If you keep scoring, in this case, if you keep winning, then yeah, you're still alive. It saved it. It didn't end it. And it wouldn't have ended it 5-6, but it's like, okay, you've seen this team lose 3 games in a row. What are the chances they are going to win out?
Yeah.
Which are apparently very good, according to Nate, but I don't believe a 70% chance.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
Winning out,
70% chance of them
I think
winning
he said
out.
if they beat the Cowboys, but still, that seems high to me.
That's a big qualifier.
Yes,
they beat a team on the road 3 days after playing.
It is a huge win as far as them getting back to playoffs. And look, in the NFL, especially this year, and especially the Chiefs, just get in the playoffs. Yeah. Anything can happen. And I heard you say it the other day. The Chiefs, even if they're the last seed, and they're playing, say, I don't know who, say the Patriots get up 14-3, 15-2, something like that. That's the last team anybody wants to play is the Chiefs.
Yep.
It's the last team.
Yeah, and not only just because, like, look, if after the Denver Broncos and Buffalo Bills game, it's like, why would we be worried about the Chiefs? Well, because they're 5-5 right now, and if they made the playoffs, that means they win at least 5-2 against playoff teams, or 6-1 against playoff teams to make the playoffs. They're not playing like they did against the Bills and Broncos to be in that spot.
I've got a shorter answer for you. It's Mahomes, Patrick. would be another reason why they're afraid of the Chiefs.
Oh.
That'd be. I mean,
I guess,
you're,
yeah.
you're always long-winded with your answers. I'm shorter.
I got
to the
4
point.
hours. I
Yeah.
figure use it all. You know what I mean? Why say something in 10 seconds you can say in 5
there's
minutes?
multiple reasons, and both of those are them. And so, of course, they're petrified. So get in. And so that was a huge win as far as getting in. Now, do I feel better about this team overall? I don't know if those 23 minutes, swayed me to where, oh, yeah, this team is back for, a second time this year. They figured it out. I don't believe that. I believe they found a way to win a game, which is the magic I think they'll need to get back from the last couple of years to go the rest of the way without losing, or maybe dropping one more and you get in at 10-7 or whatever it would be.
I'm not saying
it would be 11-6.
11-6, yeah. I'm not saying that the Chiefs would have shut out the Colts, not at all. But what I do wonder is, those 4 possessions for the Colts, 4 possessions for the Chiefs. Is it all fixed because of that 23 minutes of football, fourth quarter and overtime? What I do wonder is, okay, did we see a team that, for those 23 minutes, wasn't shooting themselves in the foot or getting penalties that cost them a touchdown, phantom or not, and defense was making plays, whereas we've seen so many times on 3rd and long, somebody on defense didn't make a play. Okay, is this what they kind of should look like if they didn't come out and throw an interception at the 5-yard line and have a touchdown taken off the board, and then a 3rd and 14, you give up a long run to this guy, over and over, it's you're down 14-3 right now, and it feels like ball game at this point. And yet, the only thing the rest of the game was 6 points, and you outscored them 20-6 when they jumped out to a 14-3 lead. I wonder if, we've said about the Broncos game, if you stop shooting yourself in the foot. Jags, a pick 6. Eagles, an interception in the end zone. What is going on bouncing off Kelsey's hands? I'm not saying they would have shut out the Colts, but the numbers in the game of 33 first downs to 10 and twice as many total yards to the felt more like 14-0 than 23-20. You survived and had to make a crazy comeback.
That's the 6th time that had happened this year, that sort of yard disparity. And the average margin of victory, all teams are 6-0. The average margin of victory was 23.
Not 3?
Not 23-20. It was 23.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Chiefs had to, a little fortunate to eke out a win in that game. So they're not going to stop shooting themselves in the foot. Like we said last night, even when they were winning lots of games in Super Bowls, they were still shooting themselves in the foot. They were just better than everybody else. I liked desperate Chiefs, though. I thought we saw a desperate defense, pinning their ears back. I don't know. You're always good at bringing it. I don't know if you had the fourth quarter blitz percentage numbers. It felt pretty high.
I think it was yes.
Yeah.
What's the fourth quarter blitz percentage? Yes.
Okay. Running down. We're going to run blitz.
Let's run blitz.
Yes.
Passing
and we'll
down.
Make
Let's pass
Daniel
blitz.
Jones beat us, and guess what? He can't.
Yeah.
And then the offense after. Well, it was 3 straight because they went 3 and out. It was 3 straight possessions if you count the end of game with the Broncos, and then they go 3 and out when they get the ball back down. Would it have been 3?
20 Chiefs?
Yeah.
Yeah, 20. They got the touchdown and 2-point conversion. Chiefs got a 3 and out on the Colts.
And
then
the Chiefs went 3 and
out.
I'm like, is this their new end of game offense?
Yep.
Then they got it in gear.
Because the defense got another 3 and out.
Another
when
3 and out.
Colts got the ball at midfield. Chiefs went 3 and out, punted the ball midfield, and I'm like, that was it. Here we go again. This offense cannot figure out a way to get something rolling in those have-to-have-it situations, and this is just another brick in the wall of them not making the playoffs.
I think I don't know, like we had talked, it's chess versus checkers a lot of times. We'll say I think a lot of times if the other team's playing checkers, don't play chess. You might not win playing chess. You know what I mean?
It's a different game.
To where okay, Rashee Rice, your guy, throw to him.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's maybe something, too. Tony Romo talking about Patrick progressing through his reads too quickly. There's nobody more aware on the field than Patrick Mahomes of his job, of your job, of the opponent's jobs, the officials' jobs. He is thinking so many steps ahead. I feel like he can get sped up because he is so advanced in his thinking and knowing what's coming next, not only from his guys, but from the other guys, to where he's too far ahead of this other team playing checkers. We're maybe slow down, just play checkers against them, and you'll be better than them. Same goes for the defense of we're going to save this awesome blitz. Can't be stopped for a 3rd and 7 in the fourth quarter when we're down 3. And okay, no, just do it every time.
Yeah.
Go, not every time, but
Just speed 'em up.
Speed them up. You can win this battle. Go win this battle. And this quarterback, Daniel Jones, shouldn't beat you. Bo Nix shouldn't beat you. Make sure he doesn't. And so I feel like a lot of times maybe there is something to that, to where this team is so advanced. They've won so many games. They have figured so many things out that like they're on another level than so many other teams, and it's actually hurting them because it's chess when you're playing against teams playing checkers.
I felt like in the game yesterday there was more checkers from Andy Reid of going under center and handing it off.
Yes.
Like there's so much chess
example.
of RPOs and
yes.
read this guy, read that guy. Well, they're just lining up and saying, I dare you to pass it, and they're not playing a whole lot of chess. And you're like, well, let's go this. And they're like, yeah, I just jumped you and king me. Like, well, no, we're playing chess here. I don't care. We're playing with the ball because you just turned it over again. And handed the ball off 35 times to a running back. Good God, man. Who is that, Andy Reid? Is it Jeff Fisher? Yeah. Who is that? Is that Bill Shakespeare over there? is that Jeff Fisher over there handing the ball off to Eddie George?
Well, it's like we see it in baseball all the time to where a pitcher will give the hitter too much credit, right? A pitcher with great stuff, and he'll just be nibbling, right? And missing outside. I'm like, no, go attack. And you're kind of giving the opponent a little too much credit to where, like, there could be times where Mahomes sees, like, you know what, if I look at Travis here, he's my number one option. The defense knows that safety's going to come up. Then I'll be able to get Xavier Worthy over the top.
Yeah.
Safety might not be smart enough to know that, right? And Travis is wide open right off the top. Just throw it to him then. Hit your back foot, hit your first read, and go, because these guys aren't watching as much film as you. They're not on your level.
Well, I would love to know what changed defensively or even offensively with Patrick Mahomes, because 4 of the top 6 longest plays of the game for the Chiefs came in the final 2 drives. Mm-hmm. Like they, and I gave this.
It's probably a different defense being played against them to where
that might be the case too. And I gave the stat in the previous hour, 13-1. Pass attempts that are at least 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, not completions, just attempts. The first half there was 1.
Yeah.
Second half 13.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the deal was first half, second half, if they want to get in and break it down, or they want to go none of your business, or if Lou Anarumo was doing something in the first half and the Chiefs adjusted to it in the second half. But they started just, they stopped dinking and dunking, and then let me throw it here, and there were a lot of handoffs, and then a short pass, and it was, you know what? What about the second level? Like, Soren's been talking this year about why aren't there more intermediate passes?
Oh, I've said that forever.
Yeah, and Mick Schaefer's been talking about it since '84. Why doesn't Frank? I mean, can we get somebody here to throw?
Yes.
Can Bill Kenny throw a damn intermediate pass every once in a while? Todd Blackledge was drafted. Like, why can't we throw something 10 to 15 yards down the field? But like, we saw more of that. Like, and the throw to Rashee Rice that was 47 yards was just. He took his drop. He was 4 yards deep in the end zone. Patient. The pocket formed around him. He waited for Rashee Rice to win over the middle, and he threw a dart to Rashee Rice in stride. And we haven't seen much of that this year, that 47-yard gain happens because it was a throw of 13 yards past the line of scrimmage that ends up being, a 47-yard gainer. But for whatever reason, 1 in the first half, 13 in the second half.
It's in there, right? It's like the Hulk. He's in there.
You need to stop being David Banner so much.
Yeah, they don't always they can't control when he comes out, but he's in there. The offense is back. We saw it for 5 straight games earlier in this season. Then it disappeared in these this last 2.5 games, I guess, and then reappeared in the fourth quarter and in overtime. What do you think was the biggest play of yesterday's game? I think there's lots of options. I have one though.
I think it might have been. Boy, now I'm trying to play chess instead of checkers.
I might be playing chess over here.
The first one that came to my mind, but then I immediately second guessed myself. The first one that came to my mind was 2nd and 13, that 47-yard pass to Rashee Rice. But then I thought, is Mick Schaefer going to first down after the Kareem Hunt fumble and the 2-yard loss of Jonathan Taylor with Tranquil making the tackle?
Not playing that good at chess.
Okay.
Not playing that good at
What
chess.
is it? What is it?
Not the Queen's
I
Gambit.
would go Rashee Rice 2nd and 13.
I think the second biggest was the 4th and 3. I mean, that's huge, right?
Oh,
The fourth-
yeah.
I mean, and a tough catch. I've been
Rice,
complaining all year. Why don't the Chiefs have a guy who can consistently make tough catches.
Mm-hmm.
And Rashee Rice is not in that boat, but he made a tough catch there.
Yeah.
That's on his fingertips. That's to save the game, basically, right there. I think the play before it's the biggest game.
Oh, Noah Gray?
Catching one unconscious.
Yeah, that was
with
pretty badass.
his thigh and his elbow.
Yep.
Because they might punt there. It's 4th and 8.
It'd be
And you got
4th
all
and
your
8.
timeouts. It's 2 minute. I
Yeah.
bet they punt. So you at least set yourself up to go for it and to keep the drive going. I think it was just a gigantic play.
Yeah, I have no clue how he held on to that football.
And I had no
Colts fans swear that
I knew
thing
it was going to get overturned because the ref was
Yeah.
the only one saying he caught it.
Yeah, Colts fans swear.
are like, no,
no, they swear that thing rolled to him. Like Mahomes actually rolled the ball to him. Is what they think happened.
Trust me, I was ready to see that thing hit the ground. I'm
Me
like,
too.
Oh, it never.
I'm like,
hit
wait
the
a minute,
ground.
hold on. Because once they started doing like that, and I saw he was unconscious.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that
there's
thing
no
hit the
way
ground.
that ball is not laying next to him. The ball's laying next to him, and you go, well, that sucks. It was a great catch. It gets knocked out, falls on the ground. The ball rolls and lays next to him.
Situation and
Unbelievable.
execution and result. Put that together. It was just a huge play.
Yeah, and I do love that Colts fans are complaining about that while ignoring the play before when Xavier Worthy was running down the field. It was the incomplete pass, and Charvarius Ward grabs and pulls him
The whole time.
and then Xavier Worthy is going the other way, and then he tackles him while Worthy is going for the football, and then Ward, by the way, immediately turns around and looks at the ref because he knows what he did.
Yeah.
He looks at the ref, and then he puts the seatbelt on.
He put the seatbelt on.
He saw there was no flags. Seatbelt. Because, good God, I got away with one. But the next play, Noah Gray, it was close to maybe being incomplete, and that's how the refs have the script for the Chiefs. I love that about life, really, in general. But that's a good call. That Noah Gray catch, how did he, I don't know, was it, by being unconscious and the arm being like, flexed and straight like that happens
I don't know
with
if there's
the gate
was
mechanism
there anything
that,
intentional
or whatever it's called.
If it was all luck there, but good on him.
Oh my God, man, that's
I tweeted that
unbelievable, dude.
Not enough receiver coaches teach the thigh and elbow catch. Somebody responded to me, not enough receiver coaches are teaching how to catch the ball unconscious. I'm like, you're right.
He's just, what he does is in his subconscious, if you imagine it happening, then that will come
It's
to
like
fruition.
Will Ferrell in a debate, he just blacks out.
That's exactly right. I don't have anything to offer to that. That's great. What happened? I don't know. Where was I?
Where was I?
Noah,
You won the debate. You beat James Carville.
You're at Arrowhead, and it's 4th and 3. You did your job, man. Did Johnny get baptized today? No, Noah, you're at Arrowhead today. Okay, we're going to take you back to the locker room. But man, what a great play by Noah Gray, dude. It's just, and it's my son when they had the pickleball tournament out at Chicken and Pickle. And they were allowing, it was so cool. Like the next time they do that with, like Garrick Dieter was promoting it and everything, they had that tournament. Noah Gray and Jaden Hicks were there. And I'm like, I bet if people realized how much access to the players there would have been about 200 more kids there, because Noah Gray and Jaden Hicks were playing pickleball on each side, and they were just rotating kids in and out to play pickleball
Nice,
with
that's
them
cool.
against each. So my son got to play, and my son's like, "Is that the guy that I played pickleball with?" I said, "Yeah." He's caught it. He caught it. I don't know the next time he's going to catch a football. It's not going to be on Thanksgiving. I can promise you that.
Probably not going to be in Dallas.
It's not going to be in Dallas. Probably be at home against the Texans,
He's
hopefully.
in 4 blue tents right now. Okay,
Yeah.
there's tent on tent on tent. It's like,
But man, if
babushka
you're
doll.
going to make a 5-yard catch and get concussed,
it's time to do it.
I like that answer. I do. I really like that answer.
It's set up so much, and I think the next play was obviously huge. And there's so many. The two big passes to Rice, the 4th and 3 to Rice, the one to Worthy,
31 yards to Worthy,
was so big.
Yeah,
that was the 3rd and 7-ish.
It was 3rd and 7 from the, and that's where, like in overtime, the argument of to receive or to kick. And Tony Romo was talking about, when you receive, you don't get that 4th down. I would receive in the in overtime because there's only 10 minutes.
The time is the biggest thing, and
I might be the only team that can get 2 possessions.
Right.
So they get 3 and out, and they punt it. And it's like, well, the Chiefs get the ball, and they go down and score, but the Chiefs had that 4th down, which they didn't need.
Yeah.
And so the Chiefs had, what, 1st down, 2nd down, 1st down, 2nd down. The only time
and it's
they
not
had
like you you automatically forfeit your fourth down if you
Yeah.
get it first. You can still
Yeah.
use it. There's going to be plenty of scenarios where you go for it.
I think the only third down they had was that 3rd and 7 to Xavier Worthy. And the
Minus
rest of
the
them,
last one.
Yeah, minus the kicking the extra kicking the field goal. Although was the field goal?
I think that was
field goal was
fourth
on second down.
Field goal was on second down?
Yeah, it was second down and 8 because
I wanted them to kick it 2 downs before that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There was a 3rd and 1 that because Kareem Hunt didn't pick up the first down on 2nd and 3, his knee was down and they brought it back a half.
Is that
inch.
the one they did the review?
Brought it back a half inch
I'm
for
like,
3rd and 1.
How is that clear and convincing? by the
Yeah.
way?
So 3rd and 1, they picked up 2 yards, and then first down, Mahomes missed a wide open Kelsey to the left. That was unfortunate. Second down, handed it off to Clyde
I
Edwards-Helaire.
feel like Kelsey stopped and he thought Kelsey was going to keep going.
Handed
Because
off
he's
to
throwing that,
Edwards-Helaire.
he's still moving.
Yeah. Handed off to Edwards-Helaire on 2nd and 10, which I thought was the most disciplined play call that Andy Reid had the entire day. 2nd down and 10, we're going to stay with what we do. We're handing it off here to Edwards-Helaire for 3 yards.
I don't mind a play call.
Yeah.
Personnel.
Third and 7, that throw to Xavier Worthy. And my point about you don't get the 4th down if you take the ball first. Well, if that's incomplete, the Chiefs ain't going for it on 4th down at their own 24-yard line because there's still 5.5 minutes to go. So they're saying punt it, get a 3 and out, then we can go down and kick a field goal. If you get them 3 and out, now you're depending on field position.
I'm with you. I would take
the ball.
I would take it in the regular season and defer. Kick it in the
Super Bowl.
postseason.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl, I'm doing that because there is no 10 minutes. You just go to another quarter, but you stay where you were. So, like the talk about,
It's 15, it's 15, first of all.
in that 49ers game, it's like, well, what happened did the Chiefs have to run that play quickly because because they would have had to start over with a second overtime? No, that was just going to keep playing. Switch
that
fields,
was coming from the 49ers sideline because
yes,
they had no idea.
They had no clue. But regular season, I'm with you. I would take the ball first. Postseason, I'm kicking and doing it second because there can be a tie in the regular season,
Dude,
whether we like it or not.
How close were we for 2 teams on Thanksgiving having 5-5-1 records?
God, dude, that's a good point. That's
We
a
were
good
very
point.
close.
Yes. All right, Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us. He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide, and where December 20th you can celebrate the holidays at Advent Health Sports Park. You start your day with brunch, bowling with Santa at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then some ice skating with the Grinch. Although I'd be careful because he might just be pushing kids down.
That's what he does.
Yeah. So
I mean, listen,
ice skating
you
with the
invite
Grinch.
him to the party.
What do you expect to happen?
What do you expect to happen?
Yeah, the presents are gone. What happened? Well, we invited the Grinch. Why? I told you not. We thought he was changed. He said he wouldn't do it this time. What are you talking about? I told you I'm a scorpion. I told you what was going to happen. But that I don't think that'll happen at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk on December 20th.
You invite Snoop to late night. What do you think's going to happen?
It's not late night with the dog. It's late night at the Fog.
Vice versa.
That was what Mick Schaefer said. We'll take a timeout, come back. We got Learn Funniest Best next. All right, let's get into a little Learn Funniest Best here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend. What I learned from the weekend, guys, is that Notre Dame didn't actually need an offense to win against Syracuse. Had they just simply not run an offense, if they had come out and just punted every time, they would have won the game because they were up 21-0 before their offense got on the field. They had a pick six, a punt return, and a fumble return, and they were up 21-0, and they won 70-7. So they didn't have to score again. So Notre Dame did not even need an offense to knock off Syracuse. That's what I learned over the weekend. And also Syracuse may have some issues that their coach is not showering, not doing a whole lot of showering. Remember, showering is for winners. That's what he said. Shower. That was last year.
Who's their coach now?
Somebody that at one point was talked about.
Wasn't it Deion Babers for a while? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not him.
Anymore, right?
But he was talked about last year. He was getting like, oh, you're good. People are talking about you taking
for winners.
Showers are for winners. Oh man, they must smell this year. What did you learn from the weekend, Mick?
A couple things. I learned that it's the Harding Bisons, the Division II.
Ridiculous.
Bisons. We looked it up. Bisons is an accepted plural form of bisons. But you can do bison or bisons. I don't know. I watched that game on Saturday, and it just killed me every time I heard, yeah, 1st and 10 for the Bisons.
Is that what you're going to say on Sunday when your kids head back to college? Bisons.
Bisons. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I did it, everybody. Let's throw it to KU pregame.
I also
at
learned
2:00.
I also learned that
it's on ESPN Kansas City right now, though.
Apparently, you can go back and add time in college basketball for any play that happened beforehand. Did you see the end of the K-State Nebraska game?
Yeah.
So if you didn't see it, and look, it might be a rule now. I'm guessing it's not, and they just took the liberty. So K-State fouls Nebraska. They go to the line with .6. Hoiberg's son makes the first to put them up 1, right?
By the way, that is Hoiberg's son, not Mr. Miyagi's other protege. Hoiberg's son.
Hoiberg's son, no. Yeah, he's not from Iceland. Last name, Hoiberg's son.
Hoiberg's son.
Fred Hoiberg's son goes the line, makes the first, looks to the bench. Nobody's got timeouts left. So there's one timeout. K-State's got a timeout. So he's like, make or miss. And they're like, miss it. Makes sense. .6. It's going to take you a while to gather the rebound. Timeout. Probably no time to shot. Whatever. So rebound, timeout, .1. They go back, and then they put 1.1 on the clock. Dude. And they took 3 off that. So they basically said there should have been more time before the free throws were taken.
Yeah.
I'm like, you missed your chance, dude.
Right.
There's action that has happened, and quite frankly, if there's 1.1 on the clock, Hoiberg might have a different decision there. K-State might have more guys or less guys at the line. There's different strategies involved there with that half a second. I would have lost it if I was Hoiberg. Yeah. And they won, so no harm done. But I can't believe that should be allowed. That, like, okay, before the rebound and everything, before that, we should have put more time on the clock. So we're going to put more time on, and then we're going to more time on from the rebound because a couple clicks.
Because then we're going to stopwatch it. Click. Okay, yeah. So now it's .9.
It should have been .6 to .3 or whatever, and then it all of a sudden went 1.1 to .8 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can have action and then go back retroactively and say we're going to change the clock now.
That.
What'd you learn over the weekend, Michael?
Well, I think that we all learned that Andy Reid's more committed to running the football. But with that being
said, for those 3 hours,
I'm tired of seeing shotgun draw plays. Let's throw those out. Those are bad.
I think the diamond wishbone thing, shotgun with one to his right, one to his left, and then Kareem Hunt behind him. I think the Colts were onto that one, that 1st and goal at the 2.
Just a little bit.
I think they were ready for that handoff there. Funniest from the weekend, Mick. We start with you. What was your funniest?
This is from, I thought first it was an official count. I don't think it is, but it looks official. It says, it was talking about the attendance for the Texas A&M game. If you combine the stadium capacity of Texas Tech and Oregon, 60,000 and 54,000, it would still be smaller than the amount of fans Texas A&M had their game against South Carolina, 104,000. Community Notes got to it. And Community Notes said, no, in fact, 60,000 plus 54,000 is 114,000, which is more than the 108,000 that Texas A&M had there. Impressive, but yeah, those basic math you got wrong there at Texas A&M account. So community notes, just a dunk right there. Well done, community notes.
So close. Man, if you'd just had like 12 more thousand people. I don't know.
Something like
community
that.
notes will probably help me out with that one too. Funniest from the weekend, Michael?
My funniest is a relationship between father and son. I'll go ahead and play it.
And one of those seniors is Brian Kelly's son. This is Kenzel Kelly coming out pregame. Pay special attention to that T-shirt he's got underneath his jersey.
Long live BK! Free my boy! Free my boy BK! You know who?
You ever call your dad your boy? No. Never did.
I can't believe that he said that.
That's Brian Kelly's son.
That is Brian Kelly's son.
He's a football player?
Yeah.
Yes.
At
Walk-on
LSU?
at LSU.
That is a guy named Kelly that is training with Mr. Kelly's son.
So, and
he's at
a
LSU.
senior.
Free my boy BK!
Free my boy.
Free my boy.
Free my
BK.
boy.
What's worse, calling your dad my boy or by his initials, BK?
BK.
Definitely your boy.
I don't know. I feel like BK, like...
My kids know if they ever call me by my first name, I will not respond.
Dude,
first of all,
if my dad
I don't think they ever tried my boy or BK.
Oh my God! If
Or
my dad,
NS.
my dad ever got fired and made $50 million,
I would not say free him.
Hell yeah! Thank you guys. That's my boy, BK. You're my boy, Blue. My boy, BK over there.
So wait, you
50
know who it
million.
is? He had a shirt. He had like a shirt under his jersey.
It was a white T-shirt that had BK written on it.
Burger King, right?
Which he's not playing in the game, so it's not like we're gonna see it.
He's not playing in the game.
Did he walk out with Brian Kelly?
Yeah, I was gonna say if it's Parents' Day, right?
Yeah.
I do not think that Brian Kelly was actually allowed to be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's absurd. I think Brian
That
Kelly
is absurd.
Should be
Your
allowed
kids there.
to be there.
I
if it's
could
good.
be wrong, but I'm
this-
pretty sure
unless
he
you
wasn't.
bungled this thing so bad,
Yeah.
I'm on Brian Kelly's side.
I love that, man.
I'm on BK's side.
Free my boy, BK. Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's got a so Kenzo Kelly's running out with a football and a yellow rose.
How old was BK when he had his boy?
I don't know.
Like 40?
Yeah. Free my boy BK. BK. I'm looking at the video now. I don't see BK out there or his boy. There you go.
What does Brian call his son? Daddy?
Bruh.
Thanks, Daddy. Appreciate your support.
Appreciate you, bruh. The funniest from the weekend for me. So my my in-laws are in town for Thanksgiving, and the Chiefs game wraps up, and I'm getting ready to run an errand, go pick something up as I'm heading out of the house, and I was watching the game down in the basement. Me and little man and in-laws were upstairs, and father-in-law was watching it in a different room, and he was watching the Bengals game and everything. So game gets over, and I'm heading to my car, and my mother-in-law goes, "Jason, most women don't make that much noise during childbirth." And I said, "Well, they have an epidural." So, I mean, like, you want to give me an epidural, maybe I won't make that much noise. But she said, "Most women don't make that much noise during childbirth, Jason."
Did you tell her the Chiefs are more important than childbirth, and
Yeah.
it's tougher to watch a Chiefs game than
Yeah.
to have a baby?
Right. That's what I've tried to tell her. I'm like, you understand how difficult it is to watch the Chiefs play with everybody saying that they're only winning because of the refs? That's tougher than childbirth.
Yes.
Many people have said that. Okay. There are studies that have been done by that. UTEP did a study that it was tougher to watch a Chiefs game than give childbirth, and I know that because UTEP does studies that are always right. If UTEP does a study, it's going to be completely correct.
Have you heard Bill Burr's routine on how it hurts worse to get kicked in the groin?
Nobody asked to get kicked in the groin again.
Women
Yes.
keep going back and having kids.
But I thought that was funny. That Jason, most women don't make that much noise during childbirth the way that you make noise during a Chiefs game. I'm just like cheering, yeah, punt, they're punting, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all positive.
It was totally positive, all positive. Best for you, Michael?
My best was we had a little family Thanksgiving yesterday, and after the Chiefs won, everything is just better after
man.
a Chiefs win, and the family as a whole, they were just pumped up.
You're
and
not
it was a
fighting
good night.
each other.
What a
right?
bad
Punching each
Thanksgiving if they
other.
lose that game. that'll be happening in a few days for a lot of things.
Just make sure
I mean, if they do, hopefully they don't.
Lunch. Get that over with.
Yeah,
where,
hopefully
like,
they
it
don't
won't
lose.
ruin that part of the
Hopefully
day.
it's a great day and everybody is enjoying, and there's a lot of things to be thankful for. A 7-5 record.
They play the first half Cowboys from yesterday.
Yeah, and they play as the fourth quarter and overtime Chiefs.
Yes, match those
from
up.
yesterday. Boy, if you match those up, I like the Chiefs minus 20.5. I really like that one. My best from the weekend, easy for me. Little man has been asking for a dog since he was roughly 8 months old. And yesterday, the errand that I ran was after the Chiefs game, went to pick up the dog. And he opened up some birthday presents. We had his birthday party at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk on Saturday.
Again, yeah.
So, yeah, we had another one. But no, he was opening up some presents from his nanny and poppy, his grandparents in town. And then we brought in, he opened up a bag that had a dog bone in it. And he was like confused, like what's going on. And his little
really,
stuffed,
son? Really?
Yeah, his little stuffed animal is named Pluto. And so I'm going out to get the dog in the car, and my wife is videoing, and she goes, maybe it's a toy for Pluto. And like his whole body just like slumped down. And like he was about to start crying.
He thought,
oh my God, I got a dog because of this.
And then she threw him a curveball.
And then I walked in.
And he's so gullible. He believes everything.
Right. Well, they did believe it because my daughter goes, "Where'd you get it?" I said, "It was outside walking around." My son goes, "Really?
Really?
Actually?
You serious, Clark?
Like, you serious, Clark?
You serious, my boy?"
Yes, I did. Our in-laws didn't know, so I did look over to my father-in-law and go, "You surprised, Jackie? You surprised, Clark? You surprised, Jackie?" Jason, if I woke up tomorrow with my hair sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Is your father-in-law named Clark?
No, it's Jackie.
Okay.
But my wife and I are trying to get our kids to name the dog Sparky.
So you don't have a name yet?
Not yet. We'll
Sparky
see.
would be great.
We'll see. I want to name Sparky. Then we can call it Clark or Sparky, either one. Okay. We'll take a time out. The pregame.
Whoa!
What's the best for Mick? Sorry.
Whoa!
I'm used to being
like you guys.
I'm used to being the second to last, and then Sterling. He's not here. That's my fault. What was
Much
the best?
like
Mick?
you guys, it's emotional. It has to do with family.
Hear him. Another trick play as Olszewski throws. It's caught. Olszewski with the pass into the end zone for a Giants touchdown. Jameis Winston.
That's the worst call ever for an amazing play.
Whoa!
Go watch the play because that's a horrible call. It was a trick play. Great throw by the receiver stepping up in the pocket, slinging it to Jameis Winston, who looked like,
my God.
I don't want to be dramatic, but the best receiver in the league
It's
on
not
that
dramatic.
play.
That's what he looked like.
I mean, he had a big receiver body. He wearing a receiver number, and he dragged a defender, shook him loose, broke a tackle, got to the end zone.
I didn't know why they brought back Malik Neighbors for one play. That was very odd. We'll take a time out, come back, wrap up the show next. Did you know about the 3 T's of Thanksgiving? Turkey for eating, table for gathering, touchdowns for winning. Maybe you had Jameis Winston catching a touchdown. I doubt that. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown brings you closer to cashing in. With DraftKings Sportsbook, all the action is in your hands. First touchdowns, anytime touchdowns, live TD bets, all of that. Every play, every snap, every game counts. And here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. When touchdowns happen, we feast. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB. Bet $5. Get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility and restrictions apply. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up tonight, Panthers 49ers. We will send it out to KU pregame at 2 o'clock right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. KU pregame currently on ESPN Kansas City. Same thing tomorrow. KU pregame at 1 o'clock will be on ESPN Kansas City, and we will join that at 2 o'clock as both these games the next 2 days, today versus Notre Dame, tomorrow versus Syracuse at 2:30. And then they will play Wednesday or Thursday. No clue. No clue when they'll play, Wednesday or Thursday. But they'll play.
Just one or the other.
They'll play Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday or Thursday.
One of those days, they will play. Yeah. And we will say, hey, make things out of clay.
Chiefs only have one day where they will say
anything.
Anything.
That'll be
How about their play?
Tuesday.
How about their play?
Tomorrow, Tuesday, they will talk. Is it the whole team that's going to talk one by one? All 53 players?
All 53,
and Dameon
15
Pierce?
coaches, all that stuff. Yeah, Dameon Pierce going to lead off. They're like, hey, new guy, you're up first.
Hey, new guy, go.
Hey, newbie.
Go.
No, we got Mahomes and you got Reed. I think both coordinators on Tuesday. I'm sure maybe a little Chris Jones.
It's going to be a lot.
Going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot. I don't know. Apparently, Dameon Pierce was very much wanted, even though he cleared waivers, because multiple teams, Chargers, Broncos, Bears, Eagles, Colts, Bengals, Dolphins, all were trying to get Dameon Pierce to sign. He signed with the Chiefs, and to the point that Eagles general manager Howie Roseman wanted him to sign with the Eagles so bad that he started making personal calls to Dameon Pierce over the weekend to get him to sign.
To me, okay?
He was a free agent at that point.
Dang it.
He had made a trade inquiry to Houston, but no deal got worked out.
He was not officially in the portal yet.
Yeah. Then why didn't they claim him off waivers? I don't get it.
Different.
I mean,
you can determine the contract, your own money, and all that.
Not sure, but apparently he was very much wanted. Now he's a Chief. Thank you, Mick.
Bye.